His name is Johnny Buffalo.
Johnny Buffalo.
Dude is the most insane beatboxer you'll ever meet, and every DJ that did a set invited him to come on stage and beatbox with them.
Whoa.
Because he's that good.
Does he make money beatboxing?
Yeah. He does performances, collaborations, like everywhere. And him and my friend Chris are going to be... They both grew up in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Hence Johnny Buffalo. And they're going to be leading the Buffalo Bills football team in breathwork before all their games this year.
Oh my God.
Wait,
isn't that sick?
That's awesome.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And he got into this just for his love of beatboxing.
He started making beats for breathwork. He partnered with Chris, who was the breathwork guy. And then they started making tracks, and then they made the app, breathwork app, and then everything just started like blowing up.
Wait, are they like famously rich now from the app?
Not like famously rich, but it's definitely like really growing. And now like NFL players and organizations are reaching out and like wanting to collaborate, and it's just like a really...
How'd you meet this beatboxer?
At a men's circle, a men's cacao gathering in 2020. Chris and Johnny were both there, and I was with I didn't know either one of them, and I was with another guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then that guy, like, me and him don't talk anymore. Now me and Chris are like really close.
And Chris is the one who's going to be at the retreat, correct? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Leading breathwork.
Yeah.
Or are you going to that one, Morgan?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
What? Let's talk about who is our guest.
Yeah, let's start. This is episode 5 of Eagle and the Bat Dragon, or the
Eagle and the Bat Dragon.
We have so many names for this pod. We have 2 names. Eagle,
those are our asset names.
Yeah, those are the spiritual manifestation of our true forms.
Well said.
Yeah, one of us is Eagle and one is Bat Dragon. You can try and guess who is who if you want, but we took acid on Easter, and then we embodied our true forms.
Yeah, we did.
Hell yeah.
That's hilarious. And the other name for the podcast is the imposter syndrome.
That he told me that one.
That one's silly. That one's silly.
So
I like that.
Let's talk about our guest, Sean Graves.
So we're starting.
We've been recording for the last 2.5
minutes. We've been warming up.
All right, here we go.
In a world.
The Impodster podcast.
Yes.
Impodster syndrome podcast.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, he's doing breathwork right now. You can hear it.
I'm just calling in my higher self.
Regulate your nervous system.
Calling in the angels and calling in the winged ones, all of the direction. I'm doing all the things.
You guys can't see at home, but the room is spinning a little bit, and there are things floating around. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And a rainbow just formed outside across the mountain range.
No.
No, that was a motorcycle.
Damn it.
All right, so yeah, welcome to the podcast. We're talking to you because you're a lovely man who does some really interesting things. What do you think is interesting about you?
Ooh. What I think is interesting about me? Man, I don't know. I've always been into, whether you want to say weird or just fascinating shit. I'm one of the most curious people ever. I've been into, aliens since I was a young kid. My grandfather telling me UFO stories. I've been into metaphysics very early on, when I was like in my early 20s. Back when no one was really talking about this, I was going to different channelings. I was reading very deep spiritual texts, and I remember being in my corporate job just like crushing like the Law of One and like Course in Miracles, and like not doing any work, just reading all that stuff.
How was your GPA?
My GPA?
Yeah.
Like in school?
Yeah.
Honestly, it was like a B+. I was like a B+ student. Not quite an A, but not quite a B.
Yeah.
B+.
Let's mention what you do now for some context. And what I know about you is that you do men's work, lead men's retreats, and facilitate mushroom ceremonies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been in the coaching world for transformational coaching world for like 7 years. I started running retreats. Actually, the first retreat I ever did was with one of my really good friends who's a shaman, and we did a men's retreat in the Joshua Tree. And those were like daytime mushroom experiences. We'd take guys out into the desert and just go full blown, and then we'd spend another couple days like integrating it. And
so wait, but how did you start? Like, how does this begin?
How did that start? Yes. So it started with, I was coaching a group, and our time ended like 3 months later, and I was like, you know what? I want to do a retreat with everyone. I want to get everyone together, get into nature, you know, really like take what we've learned and embody it, get together in person and like cement it. And then I just had a very strong intuitive lead to have mushrooms be part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whenever I had taken mushrooms prior to that, just with myself, I started to notice like a lot of shamanic energies would come in, and we'd have this communication, and they literally, whether you want to say the spirit of the mushroom or my own intuition, something was like, you're going to start to bring this to other people. Other people need this. And I was connecting to, you know, my higher self, my soul, every time. And I just had this feeling of like, I want to create experiences where other people get that too, because this is powerful. This is epic. I'm remembering who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond, you know, all the illusions and amnesia that we have. And so, should I tell the quick story of the first mushroom?
Fuck
yeah,
because it was nuts.
Absolutely.
It was
fuck yeah, dude.
It was so we did it.
This is your first time you've ever led a mushroom ceremony. This is
first one with other people. So it's all men. I think there's like 5 of us. We go up to, we're in Maine, in like the deep woods of Maine.
Whoa, I used to live in Maine, but like what area?
Oh, it
like
was. Do you know Brown? You ever heard of Brown,
Fuck,
Maine?
that's in the middle of nowhere. Then
Yeah,
no,
dude.
I've never heard of it.
Right. So, great house, really cool, like log cabin type house. So we go there, you know, and we're doing a retreat. We're dropping in. It's very intentional. We did this like really epic hike, and for this retreat, I have penis envy, which is one of the strongest strains of mushrooms.
Oh yeah, that's all I take now.
And I had only taken that once before, and I was kind of like, holy shit, okay, very potent. And so I gave all of the guys and myself like 3.5 of that.
Okay, not an insane amount.
Not an insane, but for that particular strain, like,
that's a lot.
That's gonna get you there. And so we did that, and it's so like vivid in my memory. It hit so fast because we did it. We lemon teched it. We did the tea, and within like 20 minutes, everybody. I'm on the floor. I can't get up. I can't move, and I'm looking around, and like one guy's screaming, another guy's crying, another guy like got up and ran into one of the bedrooms. And I remember I was on the floor and I was like, oh my God, this is all falling apart. Like, I can't believe I did this.
My God.
So your bad trip is I fucked up.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I'm like, look at me. I can't even move right now. And I'm just like cycling through all the negativity of that. Of like, I'm so sorry, you know, even though I'm just saying this to myself, but I'm like, I'm so sorry I brought these guys into this. And then I'm kind of angry with the mushrooms because I'm like, I listened to you and now this. Like, okay. And then this little kind of intuitive voice kicks in, and it's like, light the incense. Now I can't walk, so I army crawl, and I find the incense, and I like barely am able to get it lit. But there was something about, once it did get lit, the aroma grounded me, and I was like back in my body. And I immediately could get up and walk again, and I went into the room that one of the guys had ran into, and he was under the covers. Room was pitch black, and I just sat down in the bed next to him, and I was like, hey man, how you doing? And he's like, not good at all. And I was like, all right. And that's when like all the things were just coming through me, like the intuition was just full blown, and I was like, give me your hand. He grabbed my hand, and it was like Avatar type thing. Like we kind of like merged. It was like, and we started like my eyes kind of rolled in the back of my head, and I just could feel so much energy going back and forth between me and him, and was just cycling through so many emotions, like deep crying and like hysterical almost, and then like laughter, such intense laughter, and kind of like going back and forth, and then he's doing the same thing, and there's like this electricity going back. And then I look at him, and he looks at me, and we both start dying laughing, and we just have this realization of like, yo, bro, we've done this so many times before. Not here.
Yeah.
Right.
In another place, another planet, different dimensions. And he's like, I know. And I'm like, and we're just remembering now. And he's like, I know.
Wow.
And I'm like, you can't be afraid, man. Like, you're a healer. You gotta let this come alive in you. And he's like, I know. And I'm like, all right, we're gonna go in the other room and help these other guys because they're struggling. So we go to the other room. One of the guys is on the couch. He's like this 6'6", like Viking guy, beautiful heart, like awesome guy. We're in These are all Boston guys. And
I'm from Boston. I'm from outside of Boston.
What part?
It's called Maynard. So
Oh,
next
okay.
to Concord.
Yeah, so Western Mass, kind of.
Like between Worcester and Boston, like right, like 25 minutes outside of
Oh,
Boston.
Worcester, yeah. I went to school.
yeah.
I went to Assumption.
Right. Okay, yeah. A bunch of people I went to high school. I went to UMass Amherst.
Nice.
So yeah, Mass guy.
Yeah.
Where'd you grow up?
South Shore.
Yeah,
Hanson?
South Shore, bro. Fucking
South
yeah,
Shore,
kid.
brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, right near Plymouth.
I've been out there.
I have let go of my Boston accent because
You don't need
I
it.
don't like it.
Oh, I never even had
I
one.
pronounce my R's like a normal human.
Your ass, bro. That's fucking retarded.
Remember when it used to be so cool. Like
was
Boston
cool.
accents were cool for a while because of the movies.
Oh, Good Will Hunting.
The Departed.
The Departed,
Departed.
yeah, good, like Mystic River,
Mystic River.
fucking
Good Will Hunting.
Goodwill
The Town.
Hunting. You like them apples, dude? Yeah,
I
the
got
town.
one. Yeah, dude.
Like,
You ever seen the SNL bit where they do a trailer for like a movie called Boston Accent? That's just the name of the movie. And they're like, the movie with the most Boston accents this year. And it's like, with gritty
Yeah.
shots of Fenway. And they just go over all the movies that have just trumped up the whole Boston thing.
yeah,
But anyways.
man, yeah. Talk about. It was so funny. A couple of times, like out at the bar, you'd see this like beautiful woman, like 10 out of 10, and then you just hear her talk, and she's like, "You gonna buy me a fucking beer?"
Oh,
And I'm like, "Oh,
it does seem like a very masculine accent.
very,
Very.
totally."
Okay, we're getting
So,
off topic.
so
Yeah,
you come
yeah.
back into the
Whatever.
living room.
Anyway,
Whatever.
so we're in the living room, and this is where shit starts popping off.
Mm-hmm.
I
That
go
was a little Boston. Fucking popping off, dude.
So I go over to the guy on the couch, and like everything at this point is we're in the moment, we're in the flow. There's no thought going on. It's just you just know.
Mm-hmm.
You just know. And I go over to him, and I put my hand on his heart, and like energy just starts flying. It's like it's like a waterfall coming out of my hands, and he's like kind of like shaking a little bit. And then I can feel, I'm like, all right, we're about to go into a process right now. Like, shit's about to go down. And then he lies down, and I put both hands in his heart, and then, like, energy just starts exploding. And then he's, like, just shaking all over the place, and I'm just feeling into what's going on, and it's like this. I start pulling stuff out of his chest, and it's like this horrific, like, violent rage, like familial betrayal, like very dark shit. And I'm just pulling it out, and he's like, keep going, like he knows what I'm doing.
You get all that fucking shit out of me right
And I was
now.
looking at him, and it, at first both of us are a little bit freaked out, but then we both start laughing. We're like, holy shit. I'm like, holy shit, dude. Like,
Yeah,
what is
yeah.
all of that? We got to get that out of there.
It's like when you get like lost in the moment, and then this party was like, whoa, wait, what? There, like sees the context of it all for a second. That makes it funny.
And this is new to me, so I'm going with it.
I'll just say right now, you're ballsy. You're just like, yeah, I'm gonna have this mushroom retreat. I'm gonna throw it out there, and here we fucking go.
Full trust, man. Full trust. And so that happens, the interesting part is he was having a son in 2 weeks
Oh my god.
from that day. So he was about to be a father, and I feel the presence of his son come in, and it was almost like his son was directing me and being like, let's get all of this out of there because I don't want to inherit any of that shit.
You have to clear it out. Yeah, because he has some purpose, and this is going to weigh down whatever the purpose is.
There was an orchestration where that being, the soul of that child, was definitely present and doing some things, for sure.
Wow.
And maybe this has been something that it was long overdue for this person, and now they're having a kid, and that's kind of when it's like you gotta get all your fucking karmuppins in a row, and you gotta deal with all that shit right now.
It's like all the pieces were in place for it to happen. He was in agreement. He was ready to release it. He had someone there who was an open channel for it to come through, and then that where the soul of his child could from the dimension they're operating in, make that happen. Right.
I feel like almost every time I take psychedelics, enough psychedelics, other than like a very casual, relaxed amount, if I truly trip, I almost always have a part of the trip or the whole trip that has an overlying sense of this could never have happened any other way. You weren't even going to be able to take this acid or mushroom unless it really had to happen that exact moment, and you're just overwhelmed by the synchronicity of. There's nothing to say, like, yeah. But
yeah.
Anyways, so you're pulling the shit out of this guy's chest.
Yeah. And so it's like, man, it just feels like at one point I'm pulling stuff out, and then I start putting stuff in. I start sending like lightning bolts into his chest, like, and he's like, and I loved that. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's light this guy up. And I didn't even know exactly what it was, but it felt right. It felt like lightning bolts of love, of like healing or whatever. So there's another guy, a young guy. It's like he's never had any experience like this. I think it was his first time with psychedelics.
Fuck me.
So he's looking at that, being like, "What the fuck?" Then the energy stops, and I turn over to him, and I look at him, and he's like, "No,
Not me."
and I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh my god.
And he runs out the door. We're in the middle of winter.
Oh my god, what's his name?
It's snowing, and his name's Paul.
Paul!
He sprints out the door, and the other two guys start freaking out. They're like, we gotta go get him. I'm like,
oh my god.
but I'm in that like knowingness place, and I'm like, we're good. He'll be back in like 2 minutes. And so, sure enough, 2 minutes goes by, door flies back open, he comes back in, and he's like, okay, alright, I'm ready.
Dude, sometimes you just, wow. Also, it's interesting, I wonder if there was like a dynamic shift as you give him the freedom to run away.
Right.
He's ready to come back, right? Because you turn to me like it's your turn, and he's like, no. And he runs away, and you don't chase him, and now he's like, I'm free to run or stay.
Yeah.
There's nothing keeping me here. What do I want?
Right.
Because I've been in this dynamic with like a woman I was dating. I've just seen this where like she was like, I don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore, and I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then like she called me like within 24 hours, like, I made a mistake, let's get back together. But if I was like, don't do this, stay with me, she would be gone.
Totally.
Anyways, I don't know what this human dynamic is.
That's a real thing.
Giving someone freedom is the only real thing to do.
You're in alignment and operating with the universal forces when you're doing that, because what you chase has to run from you. Yes. So if you're in that unattached place and you just let it go, it's gonna come back.
Yeah. That's really well put.
Some people, you could, if I was in more of a left brain place, like logical, it would have been like, oh shit, that might not be safe, we gotta go get him. Mm-hmm. But I was chilling. It's like I was in that knowingness and awareness of like, yeah, we're good, he's coming back, no worries.
And then last interruption, because I want to hear how this keeps going. I don't know, sometimes when I get high enough on mushrooms, it's almost like I'm predicting and seeing the future.
Yeah.
Like I just know the future, at least 2 minutes ahead of me.
Yeah.
That has freaked me out before, but it seems to be what you're talking about.
Yeah, I get this sense of when I'm in that place, it's like, oh yeah, this is who we are.
Mm-hmm.
This is if we were, raised in a culture that cultivated this psychic ability, this type of awareness, and we had this in our belief system, it would be just basic.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this other thought too when I've had these types of journeys where I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm tapped into everything, and it's gonna sound arrogant, but I'm just gonna say it's like, oh, I know everything. Right now. I have the awareness of everything,
mm-hmm.
and then 2 minutes goes by, and I'm like, this would be so fucking boring if we just had this.
Dude, this freaked me out
all
one
the
time when I was so high, and I was having, I guess, a bad trip, but I think there are no bad trips. I was having a hard trip. That's all I'll say. I was having a hard trip, and I was perceiving that everything, I knew what was going to happen, and I was starting to panic about it because there was no more mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept looking at I set a timer to know how long I had till I was going to be sober because I was freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
And every time before I looked at the timer, I would guess the time, and I got it exactly right, like 15, 16, 18 times in a row. And I was like, fuck, dude, I may have accidentally cracked like the time continuum slightly.
Yeah.
And anyways, it did freak me the fuck out. I was like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
This is ruining my identity as a solid human.
Yeah. It's like it would be cool to have a balance, but to be in that place all the time, that would be not that interesting.
So maybe that's why we like limit ourselves to these beings that are trapped in time, so that we can have the illusion of learning.
Yeah, and learn to transcend time.
Yeah, from the limited place.
From the limited place, that's the game. That's like the puzzle to solve.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a bitch too, right? It's like time can be such a bitch. We're so programmed by it. It's everywhere. The energy, everyone's anchoring the energy. We're always looking at the clock. It's like we're always trying to shuffle around and get from place to place. And all the great teachers say it. It's like, hey, let go of all of that shit and just be.
Yeah.
And get out of time.
Yeah.
And I think that's like one of the biggest shifts that we're in humanity right now is, and it starts with us individually. Like, all right, how for myself, yes, I have to, I want to do a podcast. I got to be there at this time with you guys. But like ultimately the rushing and the like, I don't have enough time. I'm getting older. Like all that shit is probably one of the biggest like parasites.
Yeah.
In our collective
stress.
psyche. Yeah. So but it takes a lot of intention and effort to like hone in on that and get over it.
Yeah. And a lot of let go. Like, I'm someone who's very busy. I do a lot of stuff, and I feel when I'm like letting go of time. Sometimes it's when I'm the happiest, but that's when I can see all my illusions come up. Where it's like, well, you're not going to make enough money. You're not going to be successful enough. You're not going to get enough pussy. You're not going to get this. And I was like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
There is like a sacrifice because you're like, oh, I'm not going to care about time anymore. It's like, well, you might not do as well at these things, and that just might be the truth.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be this hyper grinding hustle person.
Totally.
And are you ready to give up whatever that is?
Yeah. It's kind of like a paradox. It's a multi-dimensional thing where can you transcend time but also still be like in the world but not of it, and show up to stuff that you tell people you're gonna be at the right time,
because you want to be impeccable as a human as well.
But in your consciousness you're just not operating in that time.
You just can use it but just not be too attached to it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Morgan's simple. This is simple for Morgan.
There is a simplicity to it because there is the other end, right, where it's like you're doing the hippie thing and you never get places on time. You're fucking late to everything.
I don't agree with it. Yeah, that to me doesn't feel like a fully realized.
And you're just in the
experience.
flow, man. Like like I'll be there. And then you show up 2 hours later.
Ram Dass said something I love, where he's like, oh, let me, like these hippies come to me and I'm like, oh, let me send you this thing in the mail. They're like, I don't know my postal address. It's like you're too conscious to know your postal address. Like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You're too conscious to be on time. You're too.
My zip code is
One,
Mother Earth.
Yes. It's like, no. Well, to me, that's also like, there's the ascension part, and then there's the grounding part. It's the bringing it back.
Totally.
And the ascension part is really fun.
Yeah.
I think the bringing it back part is the one that's the bitch.
Yeah, oh,
That's the reality that they like to gloss over that in a lot of spirituality introduction because it's a good sales tactic.
There was a psychologist, somebody mapped this out, or it might even have been a university, but there's these stages of consciousness, and a lot of people get stuck at the 4.0, which is kind of like sort of like Alan Watts land.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like Eric Godsey's.
It is Eric Godsey stuff, yeah.
And
we were just talking about that recently, and it just landed for me. I'm like, oh shit, I think I've been dancing in 4.0 stage for a little bit of like not grounding shit in and actually like making shit happen in the world.
Yeah.
And getting caught in the like, it doesn't really matter, just enjoy yourself, like be here and now. And but then your dharma doesn't have a vehicle to like flow through and make, come into
kind
form.
Of unhooked. Like you had all this bullshit that was all connecting you to Earth, and you unhooked the bullshit and the reason you were there.
Yeah.
Like you unhooked it all.
Yeah.
And it's like, can you rehook in and not bring on all the bullshit?
Yeah. Because then it's kind of like, you don't have very like responsibilities there. You're just kind of chilling.
And I think that's like life in yourself is the most important teacher and guru. It's like, Alan Watts, the mushrooms, all those things. Like, can you wake up and get that thing done? Can you do that? Can you be kind to your neighbor even though they're a fucking asshole? Like, can you do all those little things too?
Totally.
Can you vacuum impeccably?
Yeah. This is so perfect. There's a line and I freaking loved it. There's something about the way that I follow a number of black guys on YouTube that are all about ascension and like dropping the codes and deep truths, and I just love the way that some of them talk. And there's one guy, I'm just gonna try to do an impression of him. He's like, some of y'all out there trying to talk about the motherfucking Anunnaki, but you got a big ass stack of dishes in your sink.
Yes.
Don't be telling me about no Anunnaki when you got a big ass stack of dishes in your sink that's been sitting there for a week. And I'm like, yes, I love that shit.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Clean it up start from the bottom out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clean your room, sort out all that stuff, pay your fucking bills, whatever you need to do to be a human.
Yeah.
You gotta what's his name? Ajay Shanti said a quote. He said, "Don't wait for enlightenment to live your life." Because a lot of people are like, "Oh, once I get enlightened," or "Oh, once I get enlightened." He's like, "Don't wait for it. Like, live your life. Take care of yourself. Those are all good things. It's worthy of your time. It's still worthy of your time to be a functional human being. You live in a real society, in a real world that does exist and needs caretaking."
Yeah, it's all the balance, man.
So anyways, Paul has run out. He's run back.
He's back in.
He's ready.
We start doing our energy stuff with him. It's not as intense as the other guy. I'm with him. I'm kind of just doing like a few things, and then my other friend, who was in the bedroom that we had that connection with, he starts doing Reiki on him, and then at some point later on, I just like I'm kind of sitting there meditating, and then I hear someone speaking through a phone, and I'm like, somebody's on the phone right now? Like, how do we even have service out here? And Paul is talking to his dad, and it's like 1:30 in the morning, and all I hear is like, "Paul, you okay? Is everything all right? Like, tell me you're okay." And I can hear like the panic and the fear coming from his dad, and I was like, "Oh shit!" But then like the knowingness is there, and so I look over. Paul's just like looking up at the ceiling, and his dad's on speakerphone. And I just grab the phone, and I just, no panic at all. I'm just like, Mr. I won't say his name, but Paul's doing okay. We're having a great time. We're just like, we're doing a men's thing out here. We're kind of processing emotional stuff, and he's all good. I just want to let you know that. He'll call you tomorrow. And I could just feel he was okay. Like, he got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, that ceremony ended, and the next morning the integration was, we had an incredible conversation, and we all left feeling awesome. And then I just kind of had the thought of like, all right, I want to do that again. I'll create another space for this. And then it was men and women. And then we did that. That one was also really powerful. And then it was like, let's do it again. And then so just kept kind of going from there. And then when we started doing men's retreats, I was like, oh yeah, of course we're gonna do a night of ceremony, because this is such a good way. It's so amplified with all of our energies there together, but this also really helps us to, it fits in with the theme of like, all right, we're taking time out of our lives, we're popping out of the perceptual frame, the default mode network that we're used to being in, and this really helps the brain to become a lot more plastic, and it allows things in, it allows new thoughts to be had in a much easier way, and so you can see things from a way more zoomed out lens than what you're used to. And this is creating an opportunity for, like, you know, in a lot of ways somewhat of a blank slate, but of course it's all how you integrate it after. But yeah, that's how it all started. So, you know, people that are afraid to, the interesting thing is, it's like some people are like, I want to be a mushroom shaman, or like I want to lead plant medicine retreats. And I hear that and I'm like, ooh,
Yeah, that's
do
good.
you really want that? Because
Well,
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
Did the
and-
mushrooms tell you should, or is that your ego?
Right.
That's the
To
question
them.
you have to them.
Yeah.
That's huge. And so, like, I had another check-in with the mushrooms. I was at another retreat in the Josh retreat. This one was all women. That's how it just shook up. And that one got wild, and a lot of shamanic energies going on. And I had this moment where I walked by a mirror, and then I was like, all right, there's something there. And I remember this. I walked backwards, and I'm like, what do you want? I knew they were trying to talk to me. And I'm looking in the mirror, and it was like, are you ready to fully choose this? Like, are you ready to energetically step all the way in?
To being like a shaman.
To be like...
What do you
doing
mean
this?
there is something in the mirror, like a guide or something like that?
There was something about, like, look in the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, you're talking to yourself, but you're also, like, interacting with
the mushrooms.
with the mushrooms.
I,
too.
Gotcha.
It made you pause. I know what you're talking about. Just sometimes in a trip, someone just grabs you.
Yeah, and I walked backwards because I'm like, yeah, all right, I know what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
And it was just, I could feel it. It was like energetically, it was like, are you going to actually choose this and not be like half in? And I was like, yes, but I'm afraid that this isn't going to support me, or, you know, things could go wrong, or I'm going to get in trouble maybe in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying, like, don't worry about any of that. You're fully supported. Like,
Wow.
We got you, but you have to fully choose it.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, cool. Did that, and it felt like very locked in, very like, this is a beautiful thing. But man, it's like it gets glorified maybe like in the culture, but there's so much shit that goes with it. It's like the energy of that, being a conscious steward of that, like, it's a lot.
No
I imagine.
responsibility.
I would not recommend it,
Yeah.
actually.
That's so fun. Like honestly, I'm a tattoo artist, and I went through a long process of becoming a tattoo artist, and
Mhm.
I love my fucking job. I think I have one of the coolest, most interesting processes that I do for a living.
Yeah.
And if I went back in time and knew what it was like just being 31 and a tattoo artist, I'm like, I probably would still choose it, but like not with the same zealous enthusiasm. Like, it's hard. I think most paths you choose, if they're like really have anything deeply meaningful to them, are
Yeah.
fucking arduous.
Yeah.
So I want to hear more about this arduousness, but I also want to ask, because I've run into stories of like mediocre, shitty shaman,
Mm-hmm.
and the way you were describing it, it seems pretty obvious to me. I mean, I don't know you that well. You could be a total hoax and a crock of shit. But I don't think that you just know what you need to do, and you're doing it, and you're processing its opening. But I see people, an ex of mine, and I wouldn't say it. Let's edit that out. A person I used to know. They like just needed to be something, and they just keep searching for it.
Yeah.
And obviously, plant medicine is really powerful. So they're like, maybe this is my answer.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with those people and like softly bump them away, or do you have to trust with, like, have you ever run into this person I'm talking about? Also was at an ayahuasca ceremony, their first ever,
Yeah.
and The person who was leading it eventually asked them to maybe be their apprentice. They were having that conversation, but on her first ayahuasca ceremony, she sexually hooked up with the person next to her.
Oh my god!
And this is this is like in Ecuador, and anyway, we're like on a phone call, and she's like, "Yeah, I've been seeing this guy." I was like, "Well, it started in this crazy way." And I was like, "That's really fucked up." Like, that's weird. Like, I don't know, because I'm just entering this ayahuasca
wild
world.
to me.
But I was like, that seems so deeply unethical that was allowed to happen. You might be with a hoaxer.
Yeah.
Like that. She didn't hook up with the shaman, but like with the person next to her.
Oof.
Anyways, and that just like scares me to
in
my
ceremony
bones.
Or just afterwards?
In ceremony.
That's so wild.
Yeah, because I understand after people get really open and they kind of fall in love and they want to hang out more and whatever, but like in ceremony, in the circle, apparently I don't have more details. But
yeah, that, man, I mean, I've sat with Aya a lot, and that's just like the idea of that is so crazy to me because I've been humbled by that medicine so freaking deeply. Like, it's so sacred.
Yeah,
I would never fuck around in that space.
Yeah, it's like dangerous.
And
right?
when I hear that people do shit like that, I'm like, oh my god. And especially if, like, you know, if a shaman's doing stuff like that, or anyone who's facilitating or helping, man, like, the karma of that I would just not want nothing to do with. Like, that's just not something I would ever play around with. That, like, so because I've had you know, ceremonies where sometimes there's you know, beautiful, attractive women in there, but there's a thing inside of me intuitively that's like, it just shuts off every speck of sexual energy whatsoever, and it's just a knowingness of like, oh yeah, that can't be here at all.
Yeah,
like, no. And so yeah, it's like the interesting thing about working with the plant medicines is and this was a bitch for me. Like, I a lot of times my conditioning's like to go up into my head. I want it to be good for everybody. I want to, you know, feel like I'm helping them or doing the right things or whatever. But when you work with the plants, it's like, no, you have to surrender every time. You don't know what's going to happen. Every time is so different. The energies are so different. And all you have to do is listen. And some of the times it's like, they'll say to me, like, there's not much for you to do here other than just like hold very deep, unconditionally loving space. Other times it's like, all right, get down there next to him and do like a lot of energy work. So it's like, to surrender to that and not know used to really mess with me, because I'd feel like, I'm like, no, but I want to participate. I feel like I got to do shit. And they're like, no, that's not this one.
It comes from probably fear of messing up, fear of probably the desire to be useful and important.
Yeah, I'm not doing enough.
Yeah, like, is this worth it to them? Am I bringing them anything?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would be terrified if someone had a horrific experience and then I'm like involved in that. But well, I want to hear about the arduous nature of it all, but I also about like, I mean, the hardest experience you've seen people go through. And anyways,
well, there's like, there's this thing that people have of, oh, I'm going into this plant medicine ceremony. I have this expectation of like a huge experience happening. And I get it. I've had that too. But that's the worst way to work with those medicines of all. Because then it's like, it's kind of like the chasing energy. You're chasing a peak experience and it runs away from you. Whereas when you just surrender and allow whatever's here for me, like, cool, that's when cool stuff can actually happen. But yeah, I've felt the energy of like sometimes people when it's a little more like not explosive or dramatic or like releasing big energies, they're like, oh, I'm disappointed, or like I'm not getting what I came here for.
Yeah.
And you just have to learn to be like, hey, this is all of this is for them in whatever way. Like, I don't need to understand it, and I'm just trusting.
Maybe you're just showing someone that's not what they need.
Right.
And now they're like, okay, I crossed that off my like exploratory list.
Yeah.
And the next thing they do is the great thing for them.
Yeah. Like, tourism in the plant medicine realm just does not work. If you're not explicitly called to it, and you're just doing it because you hear other people are doing it, and it's like, ooh, I want to have like a cool psychedelic experience. Like, you're not gonna get the deeper healing aspect of it. To me, you'll know when it's time for you. Like, your soul will resonate or lead you right to it. Like when I did ayahuasca for the first time, it was an Aubrey Marcus podcast, and I was like, I've never been so dialed into a conversation in my life. Like every word he said, my intuition was like, listen to everything he's saying. And literally before it finished, I was on Blue Morpho's website and I signed up for the next retreat.
Wow.
And I like blacked out, but I was like, what the fuck did I just do? I just spent all the money that I have. I just dropped like $3,000 on this Amazonian retreat doing this thing called ayahuasca. And it scared the shit out of me, but I knew at a soul level I had to go. I'm like, I have to go here. I have no idea why, but I have to do this. And then of course I go there, and it was just full-blown death and rebirth and like confronting my worst fears and just getting just destroyed like 3 different nights.
And so where was this with your I'm becoming a mushroom leader journey?
Well, that just kind of like every time, because I journey with them on my own as well. So like we were developing this relationship, and then the spirit of that medicine was basically saying like, hey, we want you to be a carrier of this. Like, we want you to be a steward of this. Now, I don't say that I'm a shaman by any means. And I think it gets squirrely with that stuff. To me, it's like, hey, we're just cycling through archetypes. Right? And so for whatever reason, when I use plant medicine, specifically mushrooms, my shamanic archetype gets activated, and energies start moving through in a way that they normally don't. So it's like, am I a shaman, or is this that archetype's being activated, and that's just part of like my soul's path. That's part of like something that is there. Rather than make it some like label or identity for myself.
Where were you on your mushroom path the first time you tried ayahuasca?
Well, I hadn't done any retreats. I had worked with it like mostly recreationally.
Yeah.
And then ayahuasca just blew the lid off everything, and that's when I was working a corporate job, and I looked at everything, and I'm like, none of this has anything to do with who I am, and this is fucking crazy.
Where were you living? What was your job?
In Boston. I was living in Boston.
You were in Boston.
I was living in Braintree, Quincy, and taking the red line into the city every day in a just cart full of angry, pissed off, I don't want to be here people, like a can of sardines, and we all just try to normalize it and pretend like it's cool. And just bathe, just like steeping in the soup of that every day for 5 days a week. I did ayahuasca, and I came back, and the first time I was back in that, I was like, this is so fucked. And I cannot do this anymore.
What was the job?
I was doing sales for TV and broadcasting, so it was like special effects software for movies and television. So it was kind of cool.
But it's still sales.
It's still sales. Yes. I was in an office in Cambridge with like 20 people packed together, looking at a computer most of the day, and meanwhile I'm at this job, and I'm, like I said earlier, I'm watching like Greg Braden's 10-hour presentation called The Divine Matrix, and I'm not doing any work. I'm just pretending like I'm doing shit in the office, and I'm like, yep, this is, I'll get paid, but like this is, I don't give a shit about any of this. And then I eventually left that, sold everything, moved to California, and then that was like really the start of the journey. And at that point, coaching, that wasn't really going on that much back in like 2016. It was like just kind of starting a little bit. And I was like, I'm not going to school to be a therapist because I don't want to be indoctrinated, and I don't want to go through that system. I don't resonate with it. But this is what I want to do. I love this stuff. I've been doing it since I was a kid. People just like randomly come up to me and tell me all their shit.
Right.
parties in high school, in college, like everyone's drinking. Somehow, every single time, I'm dropping in with like the deepest conversations with people.
Yeah. It's your fit, and you love it.
I love it. Sometimes it was annoying because they're like, duh, and I'm like,
I know.
okay.
I think I've had that, not to that degree of frequency, but I've had that a lot. The worst is when like you're finally like really flirting with that girl you wanted to flirt with at the party the whole night. It's going well. And then this fucking guy was like, I need to talk to you about this thing that happened. I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
You cock block me for your drama. Now I have to deal with this and help you be a good
And then they
person.
don't remember it the next day.
Yeah,
That
they
used
don't
to
change
piss
it
me
all.
off. I'm like, I'm not doing this with you because it's not going to help at all.
Yeah.
But my heart was like, I got it. Like they've never shared this before, so like I'm gonna hold space,
Yeah.
even if they don't remember.
Yeah.
Something's happening.
And you
Yeah.
don't go for a hike the next day.
Yeah,
Because you're up all night.
you don't. Yeah, you don't clear your energy. And
You
it
don't-
just sits in you.
No, you don't follow through on the plans to go on a hike.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, you 2016 you moved to California and you start looking into life coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, all right, how do I do this if I'm not gonna go to school to be a therapist? And there was something about therapy that I was like, it just feels like incomplete. It feels like people are just kind of for fucking years just speaking about their same bullshit, their same problems.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll listen to that, but like I also want to be like, all right, cool. Let's let that go. Let's have compassion for it. But like, where do we go from here?
Yeah, I recently went through a lot of therapy in the last relationship I was in, and some therapists are dope. They have a lot of good tools. The books are
Totally.
good. I think you got to read all that stuff. You got to get familiar with it,
Yeah.
how the brain structure.
Yeah.
But I also realized, which I didn't know because I hadn't been to therapy my whole life, therapy, it relies on the client.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how fucking good the therapist is, if you're lying to them, unless they're like super in tune and in touch with things that are beyond the normal scope of therapists, which if you're finding a therapist like that, it's just dumb luck or universe synchronicity. But on another level, it's just dumb luck. Yeah, I watch people fucking manipulate their therapists all the time. It doesn't fucking mean shit. So what's the point of coming here? It only gets as honest as what you're bringing to it. So
Totally.
it would work for someone who's like primed and ready and they just need someone to be there as they're talking. But in general, I agree with you. I've seen most people flounder in therapy because they know they need to do something and this is the obvious little thing.
Yeah.
But they're not listening to what they need to do personally.
Yeah, and you know, it's for therapists that are making a living. It's like, people are paying my bills. Like I have clients for years, and they're afraid to lose that client, or they're afraid to be like, hey, love you, but like not gonna listen to the same bullshit. I'm bored. I'm not interested in continuing that.
Yeah.
And like calling them out in that way. It's like our men's retreat last year. This is so important for men to do, and we don't have spaces to do it. But it's like, hey, if we're gonna get together like this and be super intentional to like actually make a big shift in our experience of life, go all the way and fucking tell the truth.
Yeah.
Tell the deepest truth. Let it be witnessed. Let the shame clear out. See that all these other guys are also holding shame, and the fear of it being exposed is what keeps it cycling through your body and keeping you trapped. So if you like, could you lie to yourself? Could you lie to all of us? Okay, cool, but like, why the fuck are you here then?
Yeah. Once it becomes obvious what you are, not obvious, but you start to get the foretaste of what you get once you start telling the truth.
Yeah.
Because that's what's amazing. I was talking to someone recently who's having a really hard time, and I was like, oh, you should read the 4 Agreements. I've been reading it. They're like, oh, I've read it 15, 20 times. And I realized, I didn't say this in the conversation, but I'd been mulling it over later. I was like, yeah, you read it. But did you start doing it? Because, like, that book is really simple and not incredibly groundbreaking unless you do it. Once you start doing a practice, like you actually tell the truth when you would usually lie, your body changes. Your brain changes. The way you feel changes. Your gut shifts. You get a little taste of that. It's almost like a dopamine hit of, alignment. When you start to feel just a little alignment, you're like, oh, wait,
I want way more of that. How the
Yeah.
fuck do I get that? Oh, I gotta be scared. Oh, I gotta say more scary things. I gotta cry. I'll do it because now I can taste the reward.
Yeah.
Most people don't do it because they don't know there's a reward on the other side.
Yeah.
Like a great feeling.
And it's, it's hard sometimes to get real with yourself. Like I've had to do many times, and I'm like, wow, I am so good at bullshitting. Mostly myself, but other people too.
This is all lies.
And just like coming to terms with, hey, I'm full of shit.
Yeah.
I'm in the same place that I was, 2 years ago, or whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
And it sucks. It's
Yeah.
like a huge blow to the ego, but it's so good to the soul. It's like,
so
yes.
good.
And then we've talked about this. That's why comedy was so appealing to me, because I could then take these things that were so painful and filled with shame that like were fucking me up for years, and make jokes out of it that made people laugh, that people could relate to.
Yeah.
And seeing the laughter from that was like one of the most powerful medicinal like pieces of expression I've ever done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why now I'm like, I think it's such a good blend. Like, yeah, we can have this quote unquote seriousness of sacred medicine retreats, experiences, ceremony, but also like we gotta be laughing. We gotta not take ourselves so seriously. We gotta be able to find the humor in all of this. Because we're a bunch of silly gooses, a bunch of monkeys running around pretending like, we're all gonna die. And it's just when you know yourself more as an infinite being, it gets more and more funny.
It does get
when
more
you get
goofy.
caught into the human stuff.
I mean, that's most of Morgan's, like, a lot of Morgan's, like, personality, comedy personality is mixing the profane with the sacred in funny ways.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I think I already knew this and had already been kind of thinking about it, but I got crystallized in our last acid trip that me and Morgan did together, where there wasn't any hard emotions like the whole day, but there was so many times we laughed so fucking hard I thought I was gonna like throw up. And so like I'm sitting there in the laughter and the acid is like coursing through my veins, and I'm like seeing the fractals and laughing so hard, and my belly is like shaking with laughter, and I'm like, wait a second. And I thought about this mushroom trip I did where I was crying super hard, and I was like, wait, this is the like almost the same exact feeling. There's this like shaking, and then who is it? The body keeps score, but then there's another guy. Well, the something about the tiger. I'll have to look this up later. But he talks about how bodies get stuck and they need to shake to keep going. What's his name's on
Peter something.
That's what it is. Yeah, Pete, that guy.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, what is this about? The body is holding trauma, and then it needs to shake in a way to release it. And I'm like, laughter is that shake.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, I'm not saying that you laugh and you're totally fine, but like there's a relationship between crying, laughing, and like tremor shaking. That's all the same thing.
Totally.
And so it's like, if acid can make you, or mushrooms can make you laugh to your toes, to your cells, it's like, oh, so good.
Some of the most potent medicine out there.
I was laughing so hard I was like weeping.
We were crying. It was so fun.
That's such a good feeling when your stomach hurts the next day.
When your face hurts like crazy because you can't stop smiling.
Yeah.
Those, I feel like that is that needs to come into the spiritual space more. Like, let's make fun of each other in a fun way. Like, we're
fun of ourselves.
We're getting too serious. We're wearing too many scarves. We're
oh my god,
we're getting too crazy with things.
That's kind of what I saw happening with like the whole Fit for Service thing and Aubrey Marcus lately. Is like there's not a lot of laughing at themselves going on.
Yeah,
that podcast wasn't very funny.
No, it was not funny.
It was not very funny. They're so serious, and everyone was so kind of upset, low-key. But, yeah, you gotta keep laughing. That's why my favorite people that I listen to, that I feel like, the excitement of listening to them when my soul needs to, they're always laughing. Like, Ram Dass, he's pretty much a stand-up comedian,
It's
like,
funny,
telling his stories.
Oh, he's a great storyteller.
He really laughs at him, like makes fun of himself a lot, too.
He can't stop. Yeah, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
shout out another Boston guy.
Oh my
Yeah.
God,
What's his real name again?
Richard Alpert.
Richard Alpert. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Harvard guy.
Harvard guy. Yeah, he's a professor at Harvard.
It was nice at the last retreat we went to, like how many people there were just like so funny. We were just we were cracking up.
How much did we
entire
laugh,
time.
man? There was so much laughter.
Oh my God,
at that
Austin
retreat.
and Rob obviously and Vaughn were just
Ah.
oh my God, it was so fun.
Hell yeah.
That's to me the mark of, it's like, that's not, a men's retreat's not done right if we're not laughing our asses off and telling funny stories.
Yeah, you want to come, Miles?
Honestly,
week.
this is
Come on now.
Block your schedule. You've been making a ton of money.
I honestly don't have the money right now because I'm saving for a car. But from this,
You don't need a car.
I do need a car. From this podcast conversation, like I know I'm coming to one of your retreats.
Yeah.
It's not time yet, karmically, Morgan.
It's all divine timing, brother.
Yeah, once I get that paycheck. I'm definitely gonna be coming to one of your retreats. I'm very excited for it. I've done
Love to have ya.
mushrooms many times, and a lot of like big solo trips and intense experience. But I've never done mushrooms with a practitioner, with a shaman or any of that stuff. So,
Yeah, in like a ceremonial kind of
I did
intentional way.
I did ayahuasca once, and it was good. I was lost as fuck in my life. It wasn't like groundbreaking. I actually shit my pants.
Yeah,
Which is funny.
nice.
That'll happen.
I got so high. It took a cup, and I got really nice and high. But it was always bubbly and nice. And I was like, this is not what I'm here for. I came for something more intense. Kind of like what you were saying.
It was
like
actually
something.
bubbly.
Bubbly. What was bubbly? Me? My butt?
Yeah.
No shit coming out of my pants. And then I went up for a second cup, and he was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Hit me, baby." And then
I know, bitch.
I fell asleep. I woke up. All the lightness had turned to demons, and I vomited and went outside. And I tried to get to the bathroom, but the fractals took over, and I couldn't see anything. And the bathroom disappeared. I had my hand on the door, and it disappeared. I couldn't see anything. I was just standing. All I knew was I was standing, and there was ground, and I had to shit. So I got down to the ground, which I couldn't see, but I could feel. I pulled my pants down to my knees, and I was in the fetal position, and I shit onto the ground from the fetal position.
Hell yeah. Like a
Oh
dog.
my God.
Yeah.
Like a dog.
Not like a dead
Not
dog.
even as good as a dog.
Anyways, I clean myself up, get back in, and it's a beautiful rest of the trip. I didn't get anything really specific from it. That's the only ceremony I've ever been in.
Mhm.
Yeah, the rest have been like self-directed.
Yeah. Well, the thing is too, it's like in retreats like that where it's 4 nights, the mushroom ceremony night can sometimes steal the spotlight in terms of like what people pay attention to, but it's the whole thing. That's just actually to me a small part of it.
Yeah.
It's like,
So, and what is this structure like? If I was coming to one of your retreats,
Yeah.
what can I expect?
Can I pause this for a second?
Please.
All right, we're back, and Sean, you were talking about what we can expect at one of your retreats.
at the retreats, yeah. So really the main intention is like, all right, we're going to get together, we're going to be in nature, we're going to disconnect from all the responsibilities of the outside world, and we're going to intentionally come to a place where we're going to tell the truth, we're going to release the shit that we've been holding on to, and we're going to let ourselves go into the unknown. And there's something about like the more we're waking up, the more we're actually like utilizing the power of intention and shedding the layers of everything that we're not, and realizing like, oh wow, we can create a container where a higher intelligence starts to organize and starts to work through us at a higher level that our left brains don't really fully understand yet. So that's the container that I energetically like create going into it. Like I know that I just said yes to it and created it, but like source, great spirit, God, whatever word people uses for that's what's really like our souls are orchestrating this at the higher level. So we do different workshops, we do different exercises that help guys to get out of that frame where they're just like looping and stuck inside of themselves and not able to express, like numb running from their emotions, and it's like, no, we're in the dojo. We're here to let that shit go. We're here to feel. We're gonna breathe. A lot of breath journey on these retreats for sure. Meditation, tuning in with the land, and we're gonna have very intentional spaces where you can face off with the dark parts of you, the parts of you that you've been terrified to look at, your shame, the things you feel guilty about. So that's going on. We open up on the first day with a sweat lodge, which to me is like such an incredible purification ritual.
We're doing that on the first day this year.
Yeah, so we get there Thursday, and then the sweat's gonna be on Friday.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's always really powerful, and it's the the inipi is restructured, so it's not.
It's a little bigger.
It's a little bit bigger than we were. It was so funny. We had all these like guys jammed into this tiny little inipi, and we were like, basically on top of each other and sweating our asses off. And
it was tough.
It was This one will be a little bit different, but. Yeah, between that and the ceremony and just like everything else that's going on, it's all about like you're gonna discover more of yourself that you never could have seen outside of that. You have 10, 11, 12 other mirrors where spirit can speak through and witness you in, and that the things that even just draws out when all of a sudden you're in front of these men, you're standing at the fire, and it's like, you got to tell the truth. We can all see you. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah. And also, like this, I did this thing called Insight in Boston, which is fantastic. I'll tell you about it later. But so people are coming up to the mic and like telling really intense stories, and then like your heart is opening to their stories. And then you're inspired when you tell your story, and you cry way more than if it's just you and one person in a room. Totally. And it's funny, I was making this random connection, but like 2 nights ago I was with all these guys skateboarding at a half-pipe ramp that's in Bozeman here. And like the collective energy of all of us doing these tricks and then trying new tricks, but also getting really amped for everyone else. Like I landed a trick I'd never landed in my whole life, but I've been like kind of dreaming of landing.
Nice.
But you pump each other up to tell the truth, skate, whatever, and to have places with any kind of sense of community where you're actually pumping each other up, because like we are destitute, like we are missing this in America. It's so fucking sad. So that's so definitely you need each other to go way deeper than you could alone.
Man, it's because I noticed in my journey. Let's say the spiritual path, self-discovery, waking up to who you are, it's very easy to go into lone wolf mode. And I think that's a necessary part of it at some point, to like be in your own frequency as you're building the new foundational layers of that. Right. But it's so easy to get caught in it and shut out from the outside world, and like you got a lot of fears coming up, maybe a lot of shame, like all of your things are showing up, and you just don't want anyone to see you in that. It's like a dog that's sick and dying and wants to just like go off in the woods and not have anyone see it. So I received so much from men's retreats, like it just blew me away, man. It like a lot of them had elders, the guys that were like asking me questions that I'd never had to answer before, and I didn't realize like how much of a little boy I was still operating in, and it made me confront all of those places, and there was something about it that was just so like I didn't want to do, like I didn't want to admit that. I didn't want to admit that, like, oh, actually I'm mostly just a scared little boy.
Yeah.
I'm 33 years old, and I'm just mostly a scared little boy. Holy shit, does that humble you?
Oh my
But
God.
what power when you can finally say that, and then that's the thing that allows the man that's in you, your soul, to be like, yes, this is the next step.
Yeah.
now you get to take responsibility, and you can't be a victim anymore. You can't be. That's why this path is so interesting, because it's like when you leave the structure of society, of school, showing up somewhere and people tell you what to do, 9 to 5, and then all of a sudden it's just on you to make all of your decisions, and there's nobody like holding you accountable. Like if you don't have that, it's really challenging. Like, so at some level, I have to have people in my life that are holding me accountable to stuff.
Right.
And because without it, it's like you'll fuck around. You'll take shortcuts. You won't show up, and it's easy.
3 women at the same time. And
Yeah.
you're just hanging out. And you're not focusing. You're not reading the books. You're not reading the mantra. Whatever the thing is you should be doing.
And then there's nothing like, you commit to something and someone's holding you accountable, and then you meet them and they're like, okay, how'd you do? And then you have to say, I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck. And they're like, why?
Uh-huh.
And it's just that level of accountability so helpful, because I can bullshit myself.
Right.
I'll do it next week. It's all good.
Yeah.
So who's holding you accountable right now in your life?
Well, it's more myself now, because the more I become the man that I'm choosing to be, he does that. That's just who he is. But also it's just helpful to have a phone call, with a couple of close homies once a week, every couple weeks, and just check in and be like, all right, what are you committing to? Like, when we meet up again, where are you going to be at?
Having a friend who can call you out is a fucking blessing.
Oh yeah.
Who goes like, I think you're fucking up here.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like there's this, it's an interesting like masculinity energy that is held within masculine friendships that I find so important. And talking to you, I had like a question about how do you feel about masculinity in the 21st century? Are we in a masculine crisis? And how are relationships going for people, like romantic relationships, and the crisis that men or women are having? How do you feel? You work with men, you work with women. They're in crisis with themselves, and we're in crisis with each other.
Yeah.
And then, what's your experience with that crises?
Honestly, man, I think one of the huge issues, and I've been battling this my entire life, it's fighting the derp, let's say. That term just works for me. Which when I say that, I mean it's going unconscious. Yeah. It's like the blah, like I'm just gonna tune out and just fuck off and just like consume and like not have to think, like thinking overwhelms me, so I'm just gonna avoid it and I'm just gonna like put shit off. And I think so many people, because of their emotional stuff is being stirred right now because of the time period that we're in and the big transition that's happening. I mean, fuck, this is like arguably one of the craziest times to be alive that's ever been on planet Earth.
Totally.
Like, this is a massive transition point, and if you're not doing things that are keeping you in alignment and you're in resistance at any capacity, you're gonna get crushed right now. Like, it's what a blessing when our shadows are showing up and we're actually like holding space for it so that it can pass through.
Right.
That's the only way you can evolve. There's no other way that your soul can take you through that process. But so many people are in addiction and derping out and like doing shit that keeps them distracted from it.
Yeah.
And then it's like that amplifies, like, because the soul is like, all right, I gotta ramp up.
Yes.
I gotta ramp up the heat big time because you're not getting it.
Yeah, it needed to get your attention somehow, and the more that you ignore it, the more awful it's going to get. The more pain it will put you through.
It has to use pain.
It's the only thing that, if it's the only thing you'll respond to, it's the only thing it'll use.
Yeah.
You're dragging your fucking feet, and if you don't pick them up, then you'll drag your whole body.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I know, particularly for men, and I get it, man, like I went through the same shit, but men are so in resistance to this process, and they're just trying to figure shit out, and they're like, no, I got this, I'm a man, I'll figure this out. And Meanwhile, they don't realize they're a slave to their emotional imprints from fucking 10 years old.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they think they're a man. I'm 35 and this and that. It's like, no, you're not dealing with the imprints that you have that are keeping you a prisoner to that consciousness, and you can't get beyond it until you sit with it and let it move through you.
And you can't overshadow it with more money and nicer cars or bigger muscles or whatever the thing you might be doing to show the thing you said about feeling like you're just a little kid. Like I wrote a poem like a month ago where that was the only theme, and it made me feel so fucking good to write and admit. And this thing about telling the truth, I've had this experience with actually the ex who did the whole thing in Ecuador, because that was a crazy experience, but the thing that happened to her, but she's a very like awake and wonderful person. And I realized in that relationship that if you weren't being honest with each other, that there was a disconnect, and so you had to be honest. And I realized that even if we had to be honest about wanting to break up with each other, once we were both honest about it, we wanted to be together again. That it doesn't matter what the honesty says. You say it, and then that allows something. Even if the thing that it allows is the opposite of what the truth was. If I'm like, I want to be a man, but I am a boy, suddenly you're a man. Suddenly by admitting that, something has opened that leaves the possibility of you being a man open.
There's a level, I mean, it's like we are children too. And that's another thing particularly men do. They shut down their inner child. 100%. There's no play, there's no imagination. They're just looping and stressing and like striving and trying to like exert effort and doing the opposite of all of the like hermetic principles in ways that we can align with the energies of the universe, like the proper way. We're conditioned to do everything the opposite, which of course is what the system would want us to be in. And now it's a time where not only, and I think the retreats that I do, like this is one of my main points is like, all right, this isn't like one of those masculine things where we're gonna like be performative and like, you know, like tap into your inner gorilla, like there's cool stuff with that, but to me it's like we're here to connect with your soul. You want to get in touch with your soul and release all the shit that's in the way of that. That's the thing that I care about, because if you don't have that and you're just operating an ego and you think you're the body and you think you're the voice in your head and that's it, like you're fucked. If you can't get out of that frame, there's going to be a lot of suffering. There's going to be a lot of pain. And if we can't get, I mean, of course, it's everyone's choice, but it's like, if we can't awaken as a collective and men can't get out of this place of worrying about judgment and, you know, the fear of what people might think and all this shit, and just like step into the unknown and get into the arena, we're in trouble, because I mean, I have optimistic lens for everything, big time, but men have a huge role to play in this, and women have been stepping up way more than us, and they're so willing to like do the work. And then you asked me the question earlier, like so many women now have to take a more masculine frame.
So I was about to say they're a little upset that they're having to take up arms to do the things that many men have failed to do.
Yeah, and it's
and they're getting annoyed by it.
To me, it's a little weird sometimes, right? When you see a woman that's super masculine and she's like in her like hyper independence, and it's like that's cool, but like you look like one of the Wall Street guys. Like you're in that place.
I went on a couple dates with someone in the last couple months, and very much in that place, and we had a lot of fun together. But there's no sexual polarity either. Like. It just like wasn't there. And I was like, yeah, you're still like you're like a really good friend with boobs.
Also, sadly for some of those women, they've gone so far that way that they're just as out of touch with their divine feminine as most men are.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, like that's been the shift in our culture, especially since kind of about the time that we all grew up. Like all the movies growing up, it was like like the nerdy guy who's just like has nothing going for them, like always ends up getting the girl. So that was like kind of seen as like the good way to be.
Yeah.
And then women are like told that they're supposed to be masculine, supposed to like
have to make a lot of money. There's the girl boss scenarios and all those things. But also I think that this is like overreaching, fucked up, just like the sickness of capitalism in modern culture is like maybe kind of at the heart of a lot of these things. Because something that I try to. When someone's like opening up to me or having like a deep conversation with me, my recent thing I've been pointing towards them, because this is what's been working for me recently, because I was like pretty unknowingly addicted to needing the approval of women and love from women and et cetera, et cetera. And the thing that broke me out of that deeply was knowing that my purpose is more important than my partner. And not to say they're not important, it's just the most important thing is my purpose. Really sitting down and being like, I kind of know what my purpose is. I have a vague idea, but I want to sit down and really outline this more specifically, and like having it like experience what is my deepest purpose. Find it, get my finger on that fire inside, and let that guide me. And the more people I meet, they come to me with these emotional problems and this and that, and I'm like, okay. What's the purpose of your life? Like, do you know what your purpose is? And they're like, no. And I'm like, then why would you even be fucking happy? Yeah, you're walking around, you have a job you don't like, you live in this capitalistic society. That's your view because you don't have a purpose. Can you find something purposeful and meaningful and do that at 30 minutes to an hour a day? Watch your mental health change. You don't need to go to therapy. You need to know what your purpose is. You know, this is my...
You need a life coach.
You need to call. Here's my card. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. That's my opinion. I think there's a slight epidemic of men who don't know what their purpose are going to therapy, and I feel like there's a lot of very feminine energy in a lot of the current therapy, and it's like you're trying to make me feel better about the fact I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, when what I really need to do is figure out what the fuck I'm doing. And that's going to make me feel better. Like, you can't trick my internal compass that has a purpose into shutting off by feeling loved and accepted enough. It's like, this still needs to get done for me. Anyways.
And, you know, it's funny because, like, a lot of the people that say, like, right, they're struggling, and I went through this too. It's like, what is my purpose? And you're in this like struggle energy, and it's like I used to get angry and upset at my higher self. I'm like, why don't you want to talk to me? Where are you? Like, why do I feel like I can't tune in with you? And it's like, bro, I'm closer than your breath. Like, I'm right here. But because I was operating from a certain perception, I couldn't access it. And my brain waves are heightened. I'm like stressed out, so I can't. I'm not on that radio station. There's a simplicity, right? It's like if you're looking for your purpose and you feel like you can't find it,
take ketamine.
That definitely can be an awesome tool. But it's even easier than that. It's like, all right, bro, tell me about like the things that have been the most challenging for you in your life. Or tell me about when you look out into the world and you say somebody should do something about that. What is that? What do you actually care about? When you tap into that, it's like, oh shit, like, oh.
Can you let Peach out, Miles? That's just not funny.
Get out there, Peach.
Like let's say for example, one of my biggest shadows was insecurity. That's been one of the biggest things that I had to work through in my life, and then I worked through it, and then it's like, I feel so good about myself now, and I'm in a much more empowered place. Like, I would love to turn around, look at the mountain of other people that are climbing at the bottom of like that place of insecurity, and be like, hey, I can help you. I went climbed up and out of that, and that's how I can serve. And then you can find different cool ways to do that, that speak to your soul. Or at the very least create some kind of art that expresses that. So it's not that crazy, but then people are just like reaching and being like, what is it? I can't find it. And it's like,
start simple, but also start small.
Yeah.
Like I like, for me, like art is a huge part of my purpose, but to taking art as a metaphor for fineness, right? Like you sit there, you want to make an amazing piece of art, right? You sit there, I'm an artist, I want to make a masterpiece. You're just gonna have writer's block, artist block, whatever it is. You're just sitting trying to make a masterpiece. Like, okay, I don't know what the fuck to draw. What do I want to draw? Oh, I don't even know what I want to draw. I'll sharpen my pencil. I'll take it, put on some fucking Tame Impala, and I'll just start sketching. You just start sketching.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting there. You're in a moment with yourself. You're drawing, and then because you gave yourself that space, an idea comes to you. Like,
right.
Oh wait, and is this the greatest idea ever? Who fucking knows? Why don't you just do that?
Yeah.
And then why don't you build off that? You're trying to get to the end.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what your purpose is. What do you like to do?
Yeah.
I like to snowboard. Okay, maybe just like do that a lot and then like think about it. Like something else will come.
Yeah.
It's like open a little door. That's all you have is this.
Also, yeah, I think the question, like, what is my purpose, isn't necessarily the right question.
Right.
Because it, like, pigeonholes you into, like, this thing. This is my purpose. I am
And you're
an
in a
artist.
deficit.
I am
Yeah.
a massage therapist. But if you, like, change the question, like, to, like, asking how can I best serve? And, like, how can I best serve right now? Maybe it is going snowboarding. Maybe it's, like, taking care of yourself. Maybe it is like making art or like whatever job you're doing right now, or just like helping somebody out, and then like developing all these skills and areas into which you can serve people. And like you said, like helping people up the mountain that you've climbed.
Yeah.
Well, I actually want to segue into. I want to talk about the Bashar thing we were talking about before.
Quick point on that, because I think it's a big point. I noticed it with what you shared. It's like this era that we're in is a balancing of a feminine energy within all of us that's coming in. And if we're out of balance with that, then we're going to have issues. When we were talking about purpose, it's like, oh, what if your only job is to become aware of, yes, I'm an antenna that universal energies flow through, my soul connects with me when I'm on the right radio station. All I really have to do is learn how to be a good receiver.
Right.
To keep myself in a state where the way that I'm meant to serve is just going to come through, and I don't even have to think about it. I don't have to look for it. I just literally surrender to like, hey, show me how I can best serve. Show me what's going to bring me the most fulfillment and joy, and then you let it go. And then creation, that which created us, is like, all right, I've been waiting for that. It's like the golden
so
ticket.
easy
to let me take the fucking reins for a second.
And the feminine energy is receiving. Guys hear
Right.
that and they're like, I'm not going to be some chick. Like, I'm not going to be feminine. It's like, it's nothing to do with that. It's you actually opening up, getting out of your fucking head, and allowing life to pour through you, instead of you being in beta wave mode with your brain waves and not on the right radio station where you can't receive shit. You're just looping on your memory and your past experiences, and you got nothing
coming in
from there. So you gotta be, meditation's a feminine energy. Breath work, I would say, is maybe that's a little more masculine, but like anything that you're doing to create space where you're like, all right, I'm gonna do 30 minutes of meditation of just listening to receive whatever's here for me. I'm gonna go for a walk in nature because I know my channel is really open and I receive my ideas. I'm gonna start sketching, not knowing what I'm exactly doing, but my channel is opening up from that. That's all we gotta really do.
Yeah,
it's not that crazy.
And listen to ourselves, because you just named 3 different things, and some of those things might not work for someone else. So it's like, can you just sit down and like think about yourself and your life, a little bit of you really bringing your awareness to it, instead of everyone just picks up everyone else's like thing.
I know, it's annoying.
Like, oh, I saw this on TikTok, I'll read that book. It's like, okay, now I do this thing. It's like, what would you do if you have never read a book? What would you have done if you never listened to anyone else? What would you want to do?
Yes, you got to keep your channel clear and open so it's uniquely for you. And it's like, I love to, as part of like my coaching work, I want to tune people into, hey, take a breath. I want you to like feel that you have a spark of the divine inside of you. You have a song that's never been sung. You have a uniqueness in a way that life pours through you that has never been in the earth realm before. and you were created to be here at this specific time, and you're an instrument of life. Like you carry something that nobody else here has.
Yeah.
That's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Have you ever tuned into that? Have you ever like created space for that or aligned with that? Of like, wow, I'm so interested to see what life wants to pour through me, and now I'm allowing it to actually do that because I'm not letting my ego steer the show, and I'm following other people's shit and cultural stuff. Like now I'm actually saying like, all right, life, show me who I am. Like work through me. Let's do this. That is exciting, and it's a frequency that you align with because you're like, you get excited of like, oh, I'm one of one.
Yeah.
Nobody else has the channel that I have that life pours through. Like, what if you can just stay in that flow and be in that energy within yourself? Cool shit happens.
Yeah.
That's where the miracles are. That's where everything you want's in the unknown. Keep yourself there. If you're doing the crazy looping up in your head, take a breath, realign, and that's it. Rinse and repeat.
That's it. Yeah.
Chop water, carry wood.
And do not belittle yourself for messing up again. That's the classic, like, oh, I messed up against it. No, none of that. None of that jazz. Just keep just reach it.
It's like, hey, you're being a shitty dad to yourself right now. Stop.
Just go back. Oh, you go back, and I noticed the faster you can realign, sometimes that's the practice, as opposed to, why am I still unaligning? No. The more gently you go right back to where you're supposed to be, that's it. Just more gently. Right back.
Yeah.
And then when you realize you can just course correct back so easily, that's really reassuring and takes away a lot of my fear, because part of the fear when you unalign is, oh, I've lost it.
Yeah.
And when you start to see through that, like, no, I didn't lose it. It's way easier to just get right back to it.
Not only I've lost it, but I'm dumb or something because I've
I
lost
should
it.
be ashamed. Yeah, something wrong.
You can just have radical self-forgiveness.
Yeah.
Because like it's easy to like want that, but if you're living in a state of shame, like you're not going to believe that you're worthy of all what you were just saying, like being this vessel of light for spirit to come through. You're like, what the fuck?
That's a receiving problem. If you can't receive more light, your life's never going to look any different. The whole goal is opening yourself up and being a container that holds more of that light frequency from the creator, from source, the highest source of frequency. If you can't expand that, then you're going to have the same shit. It's like the guy, I will always remember this dude in Boston when I was working in the office, and I was just like having such a beautiful morning. I'm dancing, I'm listening to my favorite songs. It was just like a good day. Turn around, I'm in the coffee line, and I'm like, hey man, what's your name? Like, what are you getting today? You getting breakfast? You getting a coffee? Like, it's on me. And he's like, oh, I appreciate it. No, thank you. I'm all set.
Aww.
And I'm like, no, man, it's all good. Like, come on, let me do this for you. I love that. That'll make my day. And he's like, no, I'm good. And I was like...
He couldn't handle the joy.
He couldn't handle... Yeah. He couldn't receive from me. He robbed me of the opportunity to give to him, and then he robbed himself of receiving. Mm-hmm. And it got to a point where I was like, hey, man, like, come on, let me do this for you. And he's like, I said no!
Oh, my God.
And he yelled at me.
Yeah.
And it turned into this, like, tense thing, and that to me highlighted, like, specifically for men, it's like, I gotta figure this out myself. Like, I can do it on my own. Like, I don't need your help. And it's like, man, we're just so desperate to let go and let life give to you. Let the blessings that were always meant for you come in, and stop holding on and energetically fucking yourself every day by being in the mental prison and looping.
It's so exhausting. Yeah. A lot of people, I notice when they're coming out of it, and I think this is, maybe I'm saying this because of my experience, because there's a lot of work you can do. You can work through things, but sometimes, like, when people are ripe, it's because they're exhausted. Mm-hmm. It's just because they're too tired.
Right.
They're too tired, and that'll do it. They're just like, I'm too tired to be this. And then in that exhaustion, that's what gives them space. So sometimes it's like, it's not even like dramatic or spiritual in what you usually think of classical spiritual. It's like, my system is too tired, it lets go for a second, and then your awareness goes, wait, this is rad.
Yeah.
I'm working on this drawing. Morgan, I think you've seen it, it's in my studio, but it's got these two characters in it, all loops around, and it has like these fish come down and eat the eyeballs that are coming out of the souls, coming out of the arms of these two things. It's just this big looping thing. I could show it to you, but within it, I wrote it at a time when things were really rough in my life, and I was thinking about killing myself, but I wasn't really suicidal, but I was thinking about it a lot. And I put 3 words in it. I've been working on this thing for like maybe almost a year, so it's very important to me. I put a lot of feeling into this. The 3 words are, we need you. Whoever's looking at it.
Wow.
They come and look at it. There's all this really cool stuff to look at, and if they look close enough, they see there's 3 words like semi-hidden in it, and it's, we need you. Like, don't kill yourself. We need you here. You have something.
Yeah.
And so like I totally resonate with you need to bring the thing. Like, we need you here.
Yeah.
You're so important. So
You were chosen to be here. You wouldn't be here otherwise.
Right.
And it's just your fractured, wounded ego, false persona that is carrying so much pain that it's like, I don't know how to bear this anymore. Because it's needed to do that your entire freaking life.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a lot for that very tiny frame version of you to carry.
Yeah.
And it's like the soul, there's a thing that, right, it's like within myself, it's my ego as it's in this letting go process and going into the passenger seat. It's like, I don't fully trust that you're gonna steer the boat. I feel like I have to, because I've been doing it for so long. And I feel like if I do let go, then the car is gonna crash. So I have to hold on, because I've had to do it by myself the whole time. I had to do it when I was 5, and I'm having these intense emotional experiences that I couldn't talk to anyone about. My parents weren't holding space for me, and I had to figure that shit out for me. And the protector archetypes had to come online and help me through that. And now you're telling me that we're okay without that?
Crazy.
No fucking way, bro.
Yeah.
And so the soul has to be like so compassionate and be an understanding of like, hey, I get it. Wow, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. Like, ooh. All right, so I'm going to be very gentle. We're going to do this very slow, very patient, right? But what do, like, a lot of times men, we're like, get out of the seat, get over there, fuck off.
Yes.
And it's like, that's not the soul. That actually makes it grip tighter.
In Insight, they taught us to thank the protector. Like, thank them. Be so thankful you're crying. Because you're like, thank you for getting us through our childhood.
Totally.
Thank you. And then that part hopefully feels so loved
that
it can sit back.
Is this Insight you're talking about, like parts work?
It's similar to parts work. It's something called Insight Boston. There is also Insight LA. But they talk about it in those terms because they're the same system. They're just on the other sides of the country. But Insight is something my parents went to in the 90s. And I mean, I don't know how to categorize it, because it happened at the time when all these very specific categories were emerging, and it mixes a lot of them. But it's essentially parts work is probably the biggest thing that they do. A lot of you pair up with people and you pretend that you're that person's mother, and they talk to you.
Right. Yeah.
You pretend that they're your mother.
I like that.
And then, oh my god, this is super powerful. You have an ideal day with your, like, they're your mom, and you get to tell them whatever you want to do, and they take you around, and dude, so many fucking tears. It's a 5-day thing, and I cried so much that my entire like upper lip and nose was chapped and like scabbing. Because I had to wipe my nose so much.
It sounds
it's
powerful.
Like bleeding. It was what I needed in that moment. It was great.
That sounds dope. That's awesome you did that.
Yeah.
Do you think that for men, like wearing a butt plug on a regular basis make them more open to receiving?
Morgan's like, we got to get this back into the comedy world. But also, hey,
I actually have a theory that actually is.
I would say if I could offer my greatest advice for men, it would be, I'm in full agreement, man. Every guy needs to get a butt plug to open up that root chakra.
Mm-hmm.
And I just so happen to have created a specific butt plug for this very purpose. And
you just came out here to plug your butt plug?
I'm plugging the butt plug, which is crazy. But if you order today, you get 50% off. It'll be in the show notes.
Does it vibrate?
Is it deluxe? Yeah.
It has full remote control. It's got 11 different settings, angel number. And
does it play music?
And it's gold. It's like 18 karat gold because you want the gold frequency.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
What was your question?
Does it play music?
Does it play music?
Harmonics.
It plays 432 jazz, like Mozart, Beethoven. So we got it all. It's
my god, amazing!
I actually have one in right now.
I'm ordering.
How much
for this podcast?
We can hear it through the mics. There's a little bit of interference.
I'll Venmo you $333 right now.
I think this product is so revolutionary that the $9.99 we have it priced at is a steal.
It's a steal.
It's
absolutely a steal.
Wow.
No one will know.
Three easy payments. Of 3.
Exactly.
All right.
So simple.
I'm in.
Fantastic.
All jokes aside, though, I do feel like that could help, man.
A butt plug?
You are so specific about like the physical body. Morgan and I are very different.
Makes sense though with what he does.
What he does,
and I'm much more of a Zen. Like we used to be really into Zen. That was more my straight to awareness, all that.
Yeah. Well, that's just old men walking around cracking jokes at each other.
it is.
Bashing
It
each
is.
other over the head.
Pretty much hitting each other with sticks. But when you were telling me you were doing like some weird meditation breath work where you like smell weird nostril thing, I just could not understand it. I was like, because for some reason my belief system is like, of course the body is important, but it's nowhere near as important as the awareness. I don't know. I got something.
Mind, body, spirit, bro. It's
I
gotta
know.
be balanced.
It's all one.
I know.
If you neglect that, that's a pitfall.
Yeah.
I get it though.
I think so.
Yeah. Before I forget, can we circle it back to the car? So you were talking about how when you first started off, you had all these fears about how like you could never make a living doing this. Yeah. You told me off mic you're like living out of your car, and so could you talk about that?
And at some point the Bashar story, because I want to
hear
that.
Bashar story.
Yeah.
I can remind you later.
Well, the homeless thing was like, right? You hear so many people don't pursue their dreams and their visions, because they're like, what if I become homeless? Right? That's like their greatest fear. I hear that all the time.
I've been homeless before.
Yeah. And I kind of had a fear of that, but I wouldn't say it was my greatest fear. But I literally, when I moved out to California, I was bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, like full trust. I'm like, God's got it. Like, we're going to figure this out. I have no plan. Like, fuck yeah, I'm free.
Nice.
And but then all of a sudden without that structure, all of my shit started to come up to the surface that wasn't able to before. Because it didn't have space, and it was so terrifying. I was like, that level of freedom I'd never had, and it was probably the scariest thing I'd ever faced in my life, which is crazy to say because we like dream about that freedom, but then when it comes, we're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And
depressing to be newly on your own as well.
Yeah, and I just didn't feel like a man. I was like, I don't know how to do anything. In that old life, I just go to my job and I know what to do, and I go home and I get a paycheck, and
you pay
on
people
weekends
to do
I hang out with my friends, and like that's the system.
Right.
And then so like total freedom from that, I was like, oh shit. And instead of facing it and like drilling down on it, I just started smoking a ton of weed
so
every day, all day.
Oh man!
And it was awesome, and I'd be just like floating in the ocean, like, yeah, I fucking beat the game. And then all of a sudden, my Russian landlord was like, "Hey, the lease is ending next week." He was like some kind of a shyster, like.
Yeah, was he gonna did he fuck you over?
A little bit, yeah. Like it just ended very suddenly. And he's like, yeah, you got a week, and then it's done. And I was like, oh shit. And I had no money.
So was like, I can't do first class.
I literally had like, definitely not that, not even close. So then I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then I was like, I can't put this on anybody else because this is mine. I did this to me. All right, fuck, I'm just gonna start living out of my car. Put all my shit in there. Started parking in, you know, different streets in Orange County at first, and then eventually made my way up to LA because it was more lucrative to do. I got an Uber job or gig, whatever, out of necessity, out of survival. It's like I gotta find a way to get money, but I can't work for somebody. Like, so Uber was a good replacement for that. And man, I was so caught in this trap of like I had so much fear coming up. I wasn't getting good sleep. I'm parking in random neighborhoods. Sketchy things happened at times.
You're so far from your whole network.
And I'm just so like in shame. I'm like, I can't tell anyone about this. I can't, like, everyone's going to be like, wow, I fucking failed. I thought I was going to go out and do awesome stuff, and here I am. Look at me, like, I suck.
It's also funny to see the perspective. So how old were you?
I was 30 at that time.
And you were only like 6 months into your like freedom anyways. It's like when you think of it from your whole life's like journey, you got 60 years more going, and you're like, the first 2% were bad.
Yeah.
It's like, it's nothing.
Yeah, it was just insane amounts of shame and like so much poverty consciousness, so much like primal, I'm gonna die. Like literally, I was skating on such thin ice. I had all my shit in the trunk, and I was sleeping like 4 hours a night. I was literally in my front seat, like leaned back like this, because my car was small.
Oh fuck!
So my body's all fucked up.
Oh no!
And I'd get up at like 6 a.m. and start driving. Like
it wasn't even making you enough money to like start feeling comfortable.
No, not at all. And, you know, I don't have a kitchen, so I'm, like, having to pay for food every day.
And this is, like, you're seeing that your profits are being eaten away at so fast.
It's like the snake eating its tail, and I just, like, I couldn't see a way out. And I'm like, I'm so fucked. And I had no car insurance, yet I'm driving Uber. I was lying to people and telling them that I was going on a trip to San Francisco, and so I had all my stuff in the trunk. Because people couldn't put their stuff in the trunk.
You gotta make your car nice because you're an Uber driver.
Yeah.
You can't look like you live in it.
Right. But it's a CX-5, so like I don't have a segregated trunk.
Yeah,
you can see all my shit in the back.
No.
So I'm lying to people all the time. I'm like, I'm going on a trip up north after this. And so like they have to like put their bags into their seat with them.
And lying makes you feel bad for yourself. Like you know you're lying, and so there's this you going like, I'm so fucking ashamed.
Out of integrity.
Are you eating any mushrooms at this time?
Not well. Interestingly, so during this time, I started doing more ceremony than ever before. Like I started finding my way to ayahuasca spaces. Participating.
Yeah.
I did a number of peyote ceremonies. I was going to Mexico and doing sweat lodges and peyote there. I was doing a lot of ayahuasca too. So I was getting a lot of healing, even though I was in a shitty situation. And then I'd go to like Sedona and then Mount Shasta and then like Mexico. And then that's when I did a Vipassana. So I'm doing a lot of different things, but I'm still like deep in the scarcity stuff.
I wonder if that was important for part of it because of the incredible amount of humblingness and like, I don't know, maybe not. I mean, I know stress isn't generally good ever, but I wonder if that was what the hell opened you to anything by being in that mindset. Maybe.
Well, it was just like, it was such constant stress and fear that like it forced me to learn how to start like regulating my nervous system and like start learning to eradicate that poverty consciousness.
And being okay with such insane no stability.
Yeah.
You're like, I have to end up okay with this.
And I was like, dude, if I get a flat tire, like I'm fucked. I had like $5 in my bank account.
Yeah.
And when the journey first started, living out of my car, this traumatized the shit out of me. I had all my stuff in my car. I was late on payments because I just bought the car 6 months before that, and I was gonna go to Sedona the next morning. They took my car in the middle of the night because I was staying at a family member's house.
Oh my God.
That I had stayed at when I first got to California for a week when I was like, finding a place to live and stuff. And so that address was on my, my license and my card information.
So that's how they found.
So that's how they found me, and I just happened to spend the night there because they were gone.
Fuck.
And so they came in the middle of the night. They repossessed my car
with all your shit.
With all my shit. I had to go this like crazy intense process, and then I had no other choice. I was like, I had to call my parents and be like, hey,
I need some $100 to get my car out.
If I don't do this, like, I'm so screwed.
I'm not just gonna be car life. I'm gonna be literally homeless.
I'm gonna have to go back to Boston.
Yeah.
And the journey's over.
Did you tell them like what your whole situation was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when I had to come clean.
Oh, okay.
So my dad was able to help me out, and I got to the tow place at 3:58.
Right before they closed.
And they closed at 4, and the guy said to me, if you got here a minute after 4, your car would have been auctioned off. They had all my stuff in trash bags.
Oh shit. No.
I had like a clear tip jar for Uber that I kept like on my thing in the middle. That had been cracked open. All the cash was gone. They took all the weed that I had. I don't think I'd ever felt so murderous, and like I was like at a point where I'm like, I could just throw everything away and kill these guys.
Yeah.
Because they were like, when I got there, they were such pieces of shit.
Oh my God.
And they thought I was a lowlife, and I'm like, I just had like all the murderous rage that ayahuasca hadn't cleared out was surfacing.
Oh my God.
I would feel
only
the
imagine.
same way.
Yeah.
But I got the car back, and it finally like that. So I felt so grateful.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I was sleeping at it, I was like, oh, thank you.
At least, dude. So that was your rock bottom. That day was your rock bottom
by far,
right? And so I think hitting those rock bottoms are really fucking important.
Oh, they're the best.
Yeah.
Medicine.
Yeah, they're really important because they realign what your status quo so intensely that your gratitude is. Your gratitude for almost nothing. Like, you're kind of being pushed back into monkhood.
Yeah.
Level of gratitude where you're like, yeah, I'm so happy I get to sleep in my car on the side of the road.
Yeah.
You're pumped to be in that car now.
I was pumped. And man, so like, I want to say this too for anyone that might listen to this at any point. When you're following your path, you're following your joy, your dreams, you're trying to make it work. It's not linear. So like, I took the Uber job out of survival, but also I was the biggest student you could ever find. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm watching presentations and lectures of like my favorite teachers around spiritual growth, transformation, mindset work, NLP stuff, like everything that I could find. I was just devouring it all day, every day.
Which you can do while you're an Uber driver, so that's fantastic.
Totally. Mm-hmm. And then I could practice with the people that were in the car.
Right.
And the coolest shit, and I'm going to write a book on this because so much shit happened. I did 6,000 trips in a span of like 2 years. It's a lot of people all over LA, every type of human being you can imagine. And what I noticed was the most effective thing and the most interesting thing, whereas like, some people that want to be therapists or want to help in this way, it's very easy to get up in your head and like try to think about what you're going to say, like put a plan together of how you're going to help them. When all you really need to do is just get so present and be such a good listener and just hold the space of like being in that with them, and then everything takes care of itself.
Wow.
The higher intelligence is going to, through your intention, come through and work with that person, also in conjunction with their higher self too, for their highest good. So I would have my cacao. I would say every morning, I'm like, all right, every human being that comes into this car today is going to feel way better than they did when they first got in, when they leave. And Source, Spirit, God if there's any healing that's allowed at the highest degree, this is the space for it.
Wow.
And
what
I
a
would
fucking purpose.
I would anchor that in every day, like clockwork. And then so much crazy shit started happening, like the most insane emotional releases. People would tell me the craziest stuff. Suicide, people like, I was gonna kill myself today. I would go sometimes like I'd pull the car over and I'd just get in the backseat with them and just cry with them or hold them while they were crying.
I got laughed for a second.
Yeah. What a wacky thing where your Uber driver is.
Dude, I can't. I would love to hear the stories told from everyone else.
Oh my
Like,
God.
and then my Uber driver came back and held me because I'm crying. I'm like, the fact that it's an Uber makes it so
I
fucking
know.
funny, dude.
And dude, I can't even tell you, right?
Holy
It's like, because it's not me. It's something's channeling through me. It's not me. But then, like, so many times, I would get to the person's destination. And then
They don't want to get out
they're
of the
not
car.
getting out of the
I
car.
knew it. I knew what you were going to say.
And I would turn around and they're just looking at me and they're like, am I just supposed to go to work now?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. Let this sink in. Like, give yourself some time. Like,
Maybe quit your job.
you don't have to stay here though. You have choice.
Yeah.
And then some people were like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just an Uber driver.
The Uber Bodhisattva.
Dude, this is not just a book. This is a movie. I would
That
love
is
to
wild.
help
Oh,
you
bro,
write this
the amount
movie.
of
Dude.
stories is
Holy
so
shit.
nuts. I saw the worst of humanity. I saw the best of humanity. Everything in between. Hollywood, celebrities, fucking, like, yeah, the suicide stuff got crazy a couple times of people being like, hey, I'm actually, like, doing it today, and you're the last person I'm going to talk to.
And then you convince them.
In my
not to.
mind, like, my soul's like that. I kind of laugh at shit.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe it's inappropriate.
No.
But it was like
no.
the second sometimes people would say that, big. No, you're not. No, you're not. Like, you just said that to me because God brought you here and your soul brought you here.
To fuck with
You're
me.
in this place because, like, you're ready to go to the next thing.
That's what you tell them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
And not always right away.
And then you
Sometimes,
hand them the gun.
sometimes you have to. Yeah, actually, I have
Call your car the suicide cab.
I have a hunting knife right here.
Yeah, this is where people kill themselves.
Just do it on the wrist. It's,
Yeah.
it's not as painful.
There's actually, if you see in the back of my seat, there's a little leaflet instruction manual on how to pass on to the next life.
It's like, so there. What I realized was through the power of our intention is everything. I don't have to think about shit. All I have to do is hold the intention, and then the intelligence organizes around that, and it does it all. And that's we're all magicians that have that ability, but we forgot about that. And Uber, which I fucking hated at one point, and became such like an annoying thing, was the thing that opened the door. And then people started being like, "Hey, do you work with people? Like, what do you do? What's your thing?" And then I'd be like, yeah, actually I do. And then that's when the coaching stuff was going on. I'm like, oh, all right.
You're like doing coaching online training or something, or you're just like learning it because you're just teaching yourself?
I had been learning from like a lot of different people and like some coaches that were in that realm. But I took my first client. The guy's like, all right, what do you charge? And I'm like, oh, $100 a session. And then I found my own coach who I was like, hey, how do I like step into this? Like, how do I make this work? And then he helped me like put a format together and start to like crystallize it and make it legit. And then that's when I had to face off with all of the imposter syndrome shit.
Yes.
Who am I? I didn't get a degree in this, blah, 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 blah. All that has to come up. And it's like, no. Your soul knows this is what you're here for.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it just kind of kept going from there. I kept saying yes to it, and then that's when eventually the retreat stuff started happening, and it was just saying yes to that stuff, and I don't have to question it. Like, I'm not even trying. It just unfolded in that way. And so I share that because like people think there's this linear path, and it's like sometimes you got to hop around to a bunch of different things. I was doing Uber, like every gig job you could imagine to try to just make ends meet.
Yeah.
And having no idea, like thinking the whole time, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And meanwhile, it was just staring me right in the face. It's like, Spirit was like, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're learning how to do this.
Well, and I would say that I know a lot of people who are, they're Uber or they're doing something that sucks just to make rent or whatever, but they're not, because you're confused and you don't know why this is happening and Uber sucks and all these things, but you're also listening to podcasts 8 hours a day, 6 hours a day.
Easily.
You're setting intentions, whatever, 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
You're excitedly on fire about what you want to do, and the outside hasn't lined up yet, because that takes a minute to line up.
Totally.
But that thing's more important. Like, yeah, and of course, like no one knows how their life is gonna go. Whatever, maybe it's non-linear.
Yeah.
But if you don't have your finger on the fire,
Yeah.
it's totally chaotic. There's nothing going on. Like your life was chaotic, but your internal drive was straight as an arrow.
Oh yeah.
And so that was gonna lead you on a crazy path to wherever. But yeah, if someone's just being an Uber driver and like, I hope I figure it out, no passion, I'd be like, nah, you're gonna die like that. Unless it gets on fire somehow. Unless you decide you want that.
And there's some Uber drivers, like there's an account on YouTube, I forget what his name is. He used his Uber account and he would do his raps for people. And they were like deep from the soul, like him expressing himself. He's got over 1 million
followers,
subscribers. Now he's a full-time rapper and touring, and he's killing it.
Awesome.
And he used it to make people feel better. That's all it was.
Comes right back to that intent, to the fucking intention.
Yep.
Okay.
Because you're telling Source, you're telling life, like, hey, I'm open to receive. Show me how I can best serve, and then it's like, here's how you're gonna do it. And then everything comes from there, and it's like that's all we really have to do. If you're stressing out, if you're freaking out,
you're taking on too much responsibility.
Yeah, and you can't. You're not meant to hold that. Like
right.
Like I had a Christian mystic mentor who like saved my ass in the middle of all this. Like when I was in a serious dark night, and he helped me realize it was my connection with Source, with God, that was missing. And I was trying to fight all of this as my human self, and none of it was working. And then he helped me realize, like, hey, you're not meant to fight any of those battles. Like, give that all up to God.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? I can't just do that. Like, God doesn't pay my bills. And he's like, yeah, he does.
He fucking will.
I'll give you a great example of this. I used to not share this, but I think it's important now to like illustrate a point. When I was at my poorest and doing Uber, and I had literally like I would overdraft, I'd be like negative all the time. Sometimes I'd have $20 at the end of the day, and I would cash out. I'd get a $20 bill. Sometimes I would break up into 5s, or I would get 2 10s. I called this abundance notes from the universe, and I would go into a coffee shop and I would just write a letter to whoever was going to receive that. Like an example would be like, hey, this money just showed up. You didn't have to do anything for it. That's because that which created you loves you. You are abundant. You are prosperity. You don't have to look anywhere or do anything. You're paid for just being you. Like, let this be a tiny example of you have no dollar amount that is your worth, but just let this be a little fraction, a little hint from that which created you, that you are loved and supported, and that this is easy for you. And I would write a letter like that, and then I would just go. I'd put the $10 in it, and then I would go to a parking lot at I'd go to Walmart a lot of times because I know that's people are. Yeah. And at first I started to look for shitty cars because I'm like, oh, that's someone's
who needs it.
Who needs it. And then I realized like that's not the way. Like I want to I got to be able to put that on the nice BMW's car. Also, so I would do that, and I felt so abundant when I did that, and I would put it in their windshield wiper, drive away, And I'm like, that person is gonna feel super abundant when they get that. Sometimes I would do it with $20 when I was really feeling it.
Did you get this from Tony Robbins or
no?
Did you okay,
this was my own thing that came through, and it was like, because the mentor at the time, he would talk about tithing, and he would say how when you invest your own money in something, like and you're getting spiritual nourishment from it, or you sow into somebody that has money, you invest in like a coach or a program that stretched you financially and made you go beyond your limits, like then it all comes back to you, because now you're getting the reflection of your own worth. Like, yes, I'm this money and I get 10 times back every time I send it out. So I was like, I'm becoming the source of abundance. I'm the source of the abundant feeling that person's gonna get by opening that letter.
So and this came through as an intuition.
Yeah.
So I'll tell it super quick, but however you feel about Tony Robbins, but he is in LA. He's poor as fuck. He has no money. I think he had $10 to his name, and he went to some $5 buffet. He had $5 extra, maybe it was broken up into ones, and he saw a kid, and he gave the kid like 4 of his 5 leftover dollars or something. Anyways, he's a billionaire now or whatever now. But that's like, it's interesting when you see the threads of how it's the same.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and Tony Robbins, I mean, he wasn't speaking so highly spiritual, but he was like, I did it.
Yeah. And
that's awesome. It makes me, I'm gonna go give away some money tomorrow.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like a mathematical thing, and it's both. It's like, yes, I want to serve and help others, and also like it's understanding the laws of the universe.
Yeah.
And it is breaking down that poverty consciousness that's like, no, I can't give this out. Like, I don't have enough to give out.
Yeah. This is so important to me where I'm at in my life.
It's huge. Now. It's freaking huge. I was at my absolute dirt poorest giving out money like that and having zero, but then like it built the trust. I was like, hey, I know it's going to come back to me, and like epic miracles are going to happen because of that. And they did. That like every time I would do that, somebody in Uber would tip me like $200.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And I'm like, oh, look at that. Okay. Yeah. And then like I'd get a new client, or like something cool would happen.
Yeah.
And that was the universe being like, he's learning.
Yeah.
He's getting it.
Right. You're just kind of being bumper, like what is it when you go bowling and there's bumpers on the side?
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is. That's how I feel it is. Like the gold is the fucking pins. You're like a very bad bowler, and you bowl and you go bump, you just get bumped left, bumped right, bumped left.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that is this. It's the same thing, and this is why I always like try to hit this home with people, because I remember what it was like on the other side. You know, whether I'm running a retreat or doing coaching work, and if anyone's in a paradigm of like, oh, I can't afford that, I'm like, I get that, but I want you to know that if you invest in yourself and you go beyond that limitation, that's where the miracles are. That is going to come back to you literally times 10, times 20, because you're expanding the energetics of what you're allowing yourself to feel worthy of. And
how much is your retreat?
Our retreats this one was $1,200, which to me for 4 days, 3 meals a day and everything that we do, like that's fucking low compared to most of the other ones.
And how much is the one coming up?
$1,200.
Cool.
Yeah. For 3 easy payments. But like a great example is Ben. This guy Ben, who took photographs at our last retreat. He had that story. He's like, oh, dude, I can't afford it, but I want to go. And I was like, hold on now. Like, if you want to be there, everything's going to take care of itself. Right. And I want you to know that.
It's a lesson I've been learning a lot, and like
it's
really
so true.
starting to ingrain, but not to interrupt.
I go, Ben, I promise you, if you come to this, it's just going to come right back to you.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but it will.
Yeah.
And I was so certain about that, because I really like know how that works at this point.
Yeah.
I I've seen friends do it with coaching where like when they want to level up, they're like, oh shit, I'm investing 10 grand.
Yeah.
Which for some people would be like, that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Other people are like, no, because when I invest 10 grand, I'm going to get
100
the clients that are paying me that now.
Right.
That's the game that we're in. And so Ben says yes, pays full price, and then like a week later, he gets this like really cool opportunity to get a family car that's in great shape, and then he sells his car for like 10 grand.
That's fantastic.
So he had 10 grand in cash that he had no idea he was going to have a week
Right.
before, and had a great car.
Yeah.
This happened right after
A week after. And he called me and he was laughing. He's like, dude, what? And I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
that's how it fucking works. And that's why like I encourage it, because I have been in such low poverty consciousness for so long. And when I find myself in any game like back in that, all right, this is what I got to do. I got to pop out of that.
Right.
I got to invest in myself. I got to like not be hoarding.
You got to give the money away artfully.
Yeah.
Is that how you would say it? Like, because this is something I'm dealing with in my life right now. Because I have a lot of amazing projects going on. Creativity is
The
flowing.
starving artist.
But the money isn't. The money is coming, but I don't know what's happening. It's like it's just disappearing. It comes and gone, and it doesn't. So yeah. What would you diagnose? I should invest in myself in some way.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
That and it's like start to become very aware of your relationship with it. Like I had to start doing shit where I like, all right, I got to make an Excel sheet and keep track of where all of it's going.
I need to do that.
And it's like, oh my god, I'm spending insane amounts on fucking food.
Yeah.
Like just
so
draining.
how can I make that better?
Yeah.
Like how can I not be doing that? So bringing I think that's the first thing you need to do. Bring awareness to your financial situation.
Oh yeah.
Like a lot of awareness and knowing what's going on. Because I think I have so much shame around it.
Yeah.
I like don't think about it. I'm like, I don't even want to think about it. I'm just gonna work extremely hard to make money, and then I just put this all over here. And I think all this negative energy that I don't want to face is what's keeping any abundance from fully like filling up the cup.
You already know.
Yeah, I know, but I need to have this conversation
You
to
already
put
know.
it at the top of my priority list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even again, when I was dirt poor, and this is something my mentor helped me with, it was like just the feeling of opening like a Scottrade account and then just buying like, you know, $20 worth of some stock that was like $2. Just the energy of knowing that money was now in a place where it can move and grow and expand, like that started to contribute to my abundance consciousness. Plus doing the abundance letters, plus doing the things with people on Uber, like that's when I started to really like feel abundance for the first time of like, oh, I'm the source of this. Like now the universe can flow through me and bring it to me and there's no resistance. And guess what? It's like if we're on that path, I feel like I'm on a crusade with this right now because I have such deep Irish like wounds with poverty stuff.
Hey, we fucking
in my lineage, and it's like this is a big part of my what the Kabbalists would call it the tikkun. Where you're here to do soul corrections,
right,
and clear stuff out. And I think a lot of us are on that path with money. It's like, okay, can you stay conscious of you being abundant even when you get the unexpected bill, even when a client cancels on you, even when your car breaks down? Can you still maintain the awareness of who you are? And you will get tested because you have to. You have to. If you say and you claim, I want to be an abundant and prosperous person, all the tests are going to come so that you can crystallize and anchor in that new identity and that truth. Can you see God even when all the outer things are getting taken from you? Can you hold that? All right, you have the opportunity to build it, and that's why it's such a blessing, because it's like when all your shit breaks down and gets taken from you, and you're just in that trust of like, yes, all of it's getting pulled away, but I know I'm getting back so much more. And all I have to do is rest in peace in that awareness. And guess what? you're clearing out a lot of ancestral shit. So you're gonna have to purge a lot of nervous system tension, and it's gonna feel like you're dying, and it's gonna feel brutal at times, but you just have to breathe, feel it all, don't run from it, and let it clear.
Mm-hmm.
I've had times where I have to lie on my bed and just cry and let that part of me die that's like, I'm dying, I'm gonna die, I don't know what to do. And then you realize, like, oh, God's on the other side of that. Like, all right, you got it all out. Now you're open to receive.
Yeah.
This is
Yay! You got an empty vessel again,
Fuck
instead of filled with bullshit.
Yeah,
Oh
this is a really great reminder for me, because I've done similar things when I've been like had no money and been like really in poverty consciousness, where I would just be like, okay, I'm just gonna give $100 bill to like a homeless person, or like leave it somewhere, or even burn $100 bill.
That's
fucking
I love
like
that.
a note.
That's fucking intense.
Hell yeah.
I immediately.
I always do it with
felt
$100
like
bill.
that. I was upset immediately, and I see my inability to be okay with that. And I have to sit.
I
with
did that a
right
couple
now.
months ago.
You're like
I had-
picking up the ashes.
I'm like, no. I'm like, yeah, burn it. I'm like, stomping it out. It's mine now. It's my dollars.
I did that a couple months ago with the harmonic egg here, and like we were trying to manifest abundance, so I did a note, brought it in the harmonic egg with me, and then she's like, what does abundance mean to you? Like, not just the money. And she's like, picture what you'd be doing. I was like, okay, well, I'd be running in the mountains with my dog, and she's like, how would you feel? I would just be like a freedom and abundance, like I have the ability to do anything. And so she's just like, with the note, like saying how much I wanted to manifest, just like feel that feeling and go into it as much as possible. So he did that, went to the harmonic egg, and then I took that note and $100 bill, ran out into the woods with my dog, like up above the M somewhere, and just like went off the trail somewhere, and then just did the ritual with the $100 bill written in the note.
You lit on fire.
And I lit on fire.
Hell yeah.
And my life's been going great since then. I just want to say
When did you do
that.
that?
I'm doing
This was like a month and a half ago.
Nice,
Shit,
dude.
But yeah, like,
Power move.
I'm
but
gonna go burn $200.
I also need to remember, I think there's something to be said for like doing something radically generous when you're like, to get you out of that poverty consciousness. And how can you remember to do that also like when things are going really fucking well,
Yes.
and still like keep up
forget
that same energy?
Yeah.
So this is a really good reminder for me, like, okay, I like keep doing those things, keep tithing in some way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and honestly, it feels. I remember I made $1,100 in a day, like a couple months ago, and I took my coworkers out to like a nice dinner, and that felt like such an incredible. Yeah, and I was like, and I was drawing something. I was incredibly. I was just on fucking fire in so many different ways. But yeah, I mean, to just keep it. Ugh.
Yeah. Are you guys familiar with Neville Goddard?
That's my homie.
Yeah, I figured you'd be.
My boy.
You should definitely check out.
You've
Neville
never heard of
Goddard.
him?
Dude, I mean, is this a financial, like, what is this?
No.
Energy person? Who is
He's like a metaphysician teacher. He's all about, but his codes on money and abundance are, and assuming the law of assumption.
Basically,
What's his name?
is
Say again?
Neville Goddard.
Yeah.
Basically, he talks a lot about money, but it can be anything else. Like going in to the feeling of like what you want your life to look like,
Yeah.
and just like, yeah, not just saying it, but like feeling it, and maybe like creating a scene in your head, kind of like what I did with the with the burning the $100 bill, and like being in the woods, and like that feeling that I would want to have of being abundant. Just like go into that and feel that as much as you can presently, and then kind of like release attachment to it, and then just that will come.
See, I've been doing like morning visualizations of the kind of tattoos I want to do. Like I'm trying to push my career in a much more, just a bigger, more exciting, pushing the bounds of body art, what it can be and what it can mean, and doing more interesting projects. And so I'll think that, and then I usually have a part of the visualization where I'm visualizing people handing me stacks of money. But I see that this is also voided from any action in the world. Like action is, I'm really trying to do more tattoo stuff, but I'm not this abundance like burning money or giving money to someone, I'm missing that piece.
Mm.
So is he like a little bit like Joe Dispenza? Because that's what Joe Dispenza talks about, like rehearsing things in your mind and use the power of thought. Is he different?
There's a lot of parallels, I would
Yeah.
say. Man, I've had so many.
Maybe I
ones.
have heard of him, but it's just been a while.
That guy is. I went to Assumption College too, which is funny because I hated that name at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, if you assume you make an ass out of you and me, but then I found Neville with the law of assumption, where he's like, you're all states of consciousness in every moment, and what you assume to be, who you're conscious of being, is what you get. And so if you're
assume you'll succeed, like those kind of like,
and it's not like I don't know, assume. It's like you're not pretending, you're knowing that you are the creator, and all states of consciousness are in you, all timelines are in you, and you have to claim it and know it and have a level of conviction of like, what I don't give a fuck what my outer circumstances look like. I don't care what my bank account says. That got created from a place of a lack of awareness. This is who I'm conscious of being. This is who I am now. And then keeping your awareness in that place and training yourself, like Joe Dispenza gets into, to occupy that state as much as you can. And it's not faking it, it's creating it. It's going beyond the paradigm that you were in that was created from lack anyways, but now you're ditching that and you're like, no, actually the truth is I'm a creator. And the source flows through me and gives me agency. The blessings have already been poured out. The kingdom of heaven is within, and you just have to align with it and keep yourself in that place.
Keep returning.
And then it just becomes you because you've imprinted your subconscious, which is the Garden of Eden. That's your divinity, is your imagination, which Neville is all about, your imagination. And it's realizing like, oh, you're feeling and your consciousness of who you're being, that's what creates your entire reality. And so like people get caught up on visualizing and stuff, but it's like, dude, you could be in a grocery store and be like, I'm a fucking millionaire. How does it feel to be a millionaire like at a grocery store like this? Like I'm gonna get the dope foods.
Go and have anything I want.
I will say too, there's like a distinction between just visualizing and actually like feeling viscerally in your body, like how it would feel. And he really emphasizes that.
Yes, and I do know that like I try to sit in a state of visualization till it's. And it's interesting. It doesn't always work. Sometimes I'm in a place of
resistance,
I'll look at that, but I know the ones that are I know the ones that are working. I know when I like put out the vibration that is working, because I go into like the drawing day or the work day, or whatever, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited, and when it's not working, I don't know. I'm gonna re-examine that.
Because you could visualize money coming in and be like, that's cool, or you could visualize money coming in and feel that immense gratitude you would have.
But also,
and that would make it more like, I'm just saying that with the same visualization, the feeling of gratitude.
How can that be better, right? Because I'm just like lazily imagining money in my hands. But like, how would that feel to have that much money? And also, what would I do with it? Because I don't actually care about money. I don't, but I do see the limitations of not having the abundance of finances, because there are certain dreams I want to make a reality in this world, but I'm not making certain decisions because it would empty my bank account. But if my bank account was large, I'm like, oh, I could do this, and that might be get these balls through. So like, I think it's also important for me to, in visualization, see the money coming in and see myself spending it, actually spending it on the thing I really want, with there still being money coming in. I'm like, oh, so much this and this. So visualizing the life that will be the most peak expression for me, that gets me really excited. Just money does not excite me. I'm like, it's
well, that could be our segue into Bashar, because
Please.
Bashar's his main saying is follow the fastest path to your joy and excitement in every moment, regardless of the outcome.
Yes.
And just do that.
Right. That's all you have to do.
When I discovered his fucking reels, I had this like 2-day thing where something was all turning on, all these like receptors up and down my spine. I was like, oh, wait, this is the fucking like permission slip I've been waiting for to just follow my joy. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so tell us about Bashar and your story about it.
I mean, I've known Bashar forever. Like, that guy came in at the very... I mean, he's been doing his thing since the 90s. I found him when I was, like, in college.
Holy
and started
shit.
to, like, open up to that kind of thing. And from the very I was always drawn to people that were channeling certain people. Because I was like, oh my God, I just feel this resonance of truth at, like, this insanely deep level.
Yeah.
And Bashar, I always had that with. I'm like, this guy... I listened to him. He was Elon before he was Bashar. He was channeled this other being called Elon. Then he went to Bashar. Most people don't know that. But the Elon stuff was he was going to people's houses and just doing that when nobody knew who he was.
Right, it's like underground fucking grunge.
And those tapes were fucking awesome, and I would listen to those all the time.
Wow. Where are you getting these tapes?
And he was funny. He was super funny, and that always stood out to me.
Yeah. He makes fun. He makes fun of people.
He makes fun of people.
Yeah,
he is like Bashar is hilarious. I've never heard Elon, but like Bashar, I think is a fucking riot.
They're pretty much the same thing. Like they're very similar.
He's kind of a dick.
Different names. He started to become more of a dick. At first, he was more playful. Then I think he's been doing it for so long. He's kind of like
getting a little
bit
annoyed at the inability, the same questions and the. Not seeing, it's like, have you not? I've said this many times.
Yeah. All right, good day to you. It's so funny. But when I had my experience with him in person, and I didn't know he was gonna be there, there was like 12 of us in this like basement of like a church.
Dude, I'm fucking. This is crazy. So you've met. Was he Elon or Bashar when you were talking to him? This is crazy.
It wasn't in person. He was there. We had a big projector, and he was doing a live like call with us.
Right.
Okay.
So he wasn't there in person, but everybody had a chance to go up and sit in the hot seat and ask whatever question you wanted to.
Fuck.
And because I didn't know what was going on, I was like, oh fuck. All right. Well, I have to ask him something. And so when I went up and got in the hot seat, I was like, wow, I can feel the energy going on here. Like there's things happening right now. And I had never seen him like drop into his process of like becoming Bashar, and that was like, whoa, that like
freaky. Almost.
Some crazy shit was going on. He's like, and I was like, okay, all right, everyone does that differently.
Okay.
Cool. And then I didn't even know what I was gonna ask. And I sat down and I'm like, well, what's come through? Okay. I'm like, all right. So to me, like, I know humanity wins. I know we're evolving. I know it's the Aquarian Age. I know the golden era is like unfolding right now and all the remnants of the old shit's clearing out. But my mind can't see how we overcome, the military industrial complex, big oil, big pharma. It just seems like it has such a stranglehold on our planet that I can't see how the fuck we beat that and get and change that. And he was like, instantly he was just like, well, you don't change anything. And I was like, okay. And he's like, you have to remember, this is everything's happening through you. You are an individualized source consciousness, and everything's being projected from you. So when you change yourself and you shift where you're not in bondage within yourself anymore. You're taking full responsibility of your health. Like you're an autonomous, sovereign, divine being. Like those things go away. Those things naturally resolve themselves.
Right.
And because so many of us collectively are holding the image of like these things being a problem instead of focusing on the solution, it keeps it there. And they know this, and that's why like all the advertising and all the like we got to stay relevant. We got to stay in their consciousness and keep projecting. So he's like, you're a hologram. Like it's all you. So you're the one that's shifting in and out of an infinite amount of realities all the time.
So he's essentially saying, when you change your belief structure, you will change to the point where you don't exist in a world where oil is holding it. You're still in the vibrational rate that all these collective people around you are.
Yeah.
Don't you ever feel like theoretically bad for the reality you're shifting out of? I know that's not how it works, but I think there's like a guilt and a hold on thing there for me, where I'm like, just shift out of it and shift into another one. And let's say that's real. It's like a part of me doesn't want to like abandon it, and I don't think that's a good thing. I've seen I heard in When the Body Keeps Score, there's this, they talk about these Vietnam vets who cannot get over their PTSD because they can't let go of each other and of the people they lost. They refuse to get better because they refuse to become healthy, and then they'll like graduate out of that space. They won't have a space here in this collective like pain circle. So I wonder if there's, for me, some ties of that.
Well, there's this idea of like, oh, I'm leaving people behind. I'm leaving maybe some family members, people that I've loved or people that I know behind, and it's like, the people that are meant to go with you, that stay in your movie, that stay in your experience, are the ones who are also shifting as well. And that's just part of the process. But actually, like, this is all a big illusion. This is a big game.
Yeah, you can't lose.
It's not even real.
Anyways. You can't lose anyone. Where are they going to go?
There's nothing to lose.
Also, in the next reality, the better, the quote better, the more healed, the more aligned. They're there too. They're just more aligned in that one. You're just shifting up, and that's none of that. The idea you could leave someone behind is actually infallible, because that's not real. And
you have to like correct that and catch that. And I have this like funny visual of when I'm not in this body of Sean anymore, and we're all back into the knowingness and the oneness and the love and the dimension that we're used to being in. It's like, oh, like, amazing job, like, wow, we're all actors, like, holy shit, that was crazy, what an experience.
Do you remember when? And then you thought that was
like
nice.
You vibrated far ahead. I got caught in the other thing. Like, wow, good job. Like, all right, can you help me maybe in this next one? Slingshot 2, I want to feel that. Because it's eternity, so it's like we'll play a million roles, we'll do whatever.
Right.
Yeah, and this comes to a big existential question. Are we going anywhere? Is there anything to do? I mean, we're clearing out karma and trauma and making way for like a golden age on the planet Earth, and that's nice, but I guess it doesn't go anywhere. Is this just like a crazy game of us forgetting and remembering because it's more fun? Like,
I think so.
Is it just more fun?
I think so. That's kind of my conclusion.
I think it's definitely soul games. It's like the souls want to be doing. The creator wants to know itself in every possible way, so it's gonna set up a million different things. But it seems like, the zodiac, the sun on a 26,000 year cycle, passing through all 12 signs of the zodiac, that takes like 2,500 years or so. And every time it passes through a particular zodiac sign, as above, so below, the neutrinos, the information coming from the sun, passing through all the planets, coming through that particular constellation, affects everything on Earth. So each 2,500 years, we're playing out these different themes depending on the zodiac sign. So we're going to play the Piscean theme for 2,500 years. And then when we start to shift it, which is what's happening right now, we're coming fully into Aquarius, which is like, as we go, the ego evolves to a place of like, it used to be the gods were up there, and the different planets, and like Mercury and Saturn, like those were the gods. And then the gods started to come a little bit closer in Greek mythology, where it was like, there's Zeus, and there's, blah, blah, blah.
Lightning and the sea and the clouds. And
then it was like half man, half gods started to occur. And then, like, what was happening? God started getting closer.
And then you have Jesus.
And then you have Jesus, the Son of God, like, it's God's only son. And it's like, no, that was the point where the myth started to change, where Jesus was like, the divine is in you now. And it's not a God out here, it's in here. And then people are like, let's make a religion out of that. Like, no way. Like, he's the only one that can do it.
Crazy.
He's the only one that has God in him.
Totally misinterpreted the entire thing.
And so, like, that's part of the process, though, of Piscean to Aquarian. It's the age of truth where we realize, like, oh yeah, that Christ consciousness is in all of us. That's that's what's waking up right now. We're all going from the root chakra to the heart chakra, and and then the mirror has to change when we're all doing that. Yeah. And so it's like when the Aquarian age is done, it's all a big fucking circle. Mm-hmm. Like at some point, it'll all implode on itself again, and we'll go back to the dark point where we're in the dark ages. We forget who we are, but then it'll be different because it'll be slightly different that time.
We'll have gone up on the spiral.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not as dark.
Spirals.
Yeah. It's the same theme we've done before, but it's not quite as dark. And it's like. It's the forever game. I love the idea of like, yo, as Sean, as Morgan,
as
Miles, thank you. Like, I'm building my forever character right now, just like a fucking video game.
Right.
Like, it's not just this lifetime. Like, the awareness that I achieve in this one is I'm gonna get born into the next body, and I'm gonna have that, and I get to build on that.
Yeah.
Like.
Totally.
That's sick. I'm gonna build this character and keep it going, and like.
Isn't it nice when you like figure that out?
It is really nice.
What you're doing here.
It feels way more aligned, and it's like you're not stressing out to try to figure it out all in just this one, and like I gotta get there before I die.
Yeah.
Because then I just have to start over.
That's because and that's you being attached to your character, because you think
totally
when you die, the character dies, and that's you, which is not quite no.
No.
Yeah.
And it's like that's what a huge illusion. And then how many near-death experience stories do you need to? I used to listen to thousands of those.
Me too.
I was obsessed with them.
I wrote a paper in college because I was like, why is no one talking about this?
Right?
Everyone leaves their body all the time. It's so obvious that we have scientific evidence for a soul. I was like moving from atheist to spirituality in that time, so I wasn't really like soul wasn't a word I liked, but I'm like, we exist outside of the body.
Yeah.
We obviously exist outside of the body. There's so many fucking stories. Like, people are lying. They're not all lying. That's insane.
Oh, really? Thousands of people saying the same type of story, basically.
Yeah.
There's I forget what it's a major university, but they're like on the leading edge of all that. They're like turning that into a science.
Whoa. Do you ever read I tried to make myself have an out-of-body experience. I was reading Adventures Beyond the Body by William Bowman or something, and I never really got outside of my body. I had like some like my body vibrating experiences, but I was like obsessed with this for like two years.
Yeah,
I like made myself my own recordings of his like go to bed mantras and stuff. I was like listening to them, and I was like, I will get out of my body. Anyways,
it's the mantra of your dad being like, go to bed.
Gotta fuck to bed. Yeah, he's in the background. What are you talking to your computer for? Lights out. I'm trying to spiritually ascend. No spiritually ascending in my house. What, you think you're better than me? Why do you think you need a spiritual ascend? I put a roof over your head? You think you need more than that? Damn.
You need a good grounding, and he takes the belt off.
Yeah, exactly.
You get the lash out. You're not grounded enough, son.
Shit, Dad, hook that up to my grounding mat so it actually helps. Is that electrically charged?
Have you had an out-of-body experience ever?
Not sober.
Okay. Well, I mean, just in general, like.
What were you on when you had your out-of-body experience? Was it that crazy acid day that you went to channel?
Yeah, I did have one that day.
Yeah,
you popped out.
Before that happened, yeah.
You could see your body.
I didn't look back at my body, but I like kind of popped out, and like everything was kind of this grayish hue, and I could see like energy balls in my hands, and I started walking out the door, and then I had like my girlfriend at the time woke up, and she's like, because I remember I was sitting on the bed, and then I think I left my body, and my girlfriend at the time was like, what are you doing? And I felt myself almost like go back in time, and fall back into my body. Be like, what the fuck? But it felt like literally going back in time and retracing everything I'd done to get back.
You didn't like turn back. That in the book I read, they talk about that, like if someone wakes you up or if you make a mistake or if you think about your body, there's like ways you accidentally throw yourself back, but like a hook, it pulls you right back.
Yeah, and I like reversed, but it was so weird. I felt like I was reversing time.
Yeah,
it was bizarre. But I was on acid the only times this has ever happened.
It's only happened to me once. I've done a lot of psychedelics. It scared the shit out of me. I was in college, and it was the first time I ever did mushrooms.
Oh my god! I was going to ask you.
I did 3 grams of mushrooms. I'm watching. I didn't know what to do with myself. It's like a Tuesday. I'm home from for winter break.
This is how all. Oh my god!
And
this is how all bad trips happen.
And I'm down in my basement at like 1 p.m. And I'm like, I don't know what to do right now, so I put on the 300. And I'm watching the 300, and my brother
is the
movie,
the Spartan movie.
Oh my god!
Put on the most violent movie possible, and I'm just sitting there like, whoa. And my brother comes downstairs. My brother's at that point way more versed than me in psychedelic stuff, and he's like, "Did you take those mushrooms?" And I'm like, "Yep."
It's like,
and he's like, "And you're fucking down here watching this?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like. He runs down, he turns the TV off. He's like, "You get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
And we go to his friend's house, and we're like, this was a better alternative. We go into his basement.
Oh, another basement.
there's like 10 kids down there. We're all in a circle, and there's a bong. And they're all doing hits of salvia.
Oh no!
And I'm like, "What's salvia?"
Oh no! And you're already tripping.
And my brother's like, "You should do it."
No.
And I'm already tripping my ass off, and so so I take it, and they're all like rip it, take a big hit. First time ever doing salvia, and of course, like the second I blow it out, everyone turned into Sesame Street characters.
Whoa.
And one of the kids had a mohawk, and he's like this big, like 300-pound guy, and he was just like, "Hua, hua, hua, hua."
Oh god.
And I was like, "No!" And then I popped out of my body so hard.
You're so afraid of the
I popped out of my body, and I was floating up above the house.
Oh,
holy shit!
And I was like, "No, I'm not dying like this." And I swam back down through the roof, and I was trying to get back to my body, and I could see everybody in the circle, and they're all pointing at me and laughing.
What are you
doing? I'm slumped over on the couch like this.
Jesus.
And the more that I tried to swim and get back into it, it felt like I was going further away, like I was getting pulled away.
That's terrifying.
And I was like, I'm dying. Like, no, I'm not supposed to die like this. And I'm like trying to get back. And then finally, like, I popped back in, and I was like, I looked around the room, and everyone's still laughing at me, and I'm like sweating my ass off.
And you're still high on mushrooms.
And I'm still fucking super high, and everyone's still Sesame Street characters, but I'm just like, I looked around, and I'm like, I can't believe that you fucking guys just get, like, I look at my brother, I'm like, you fucking asshole. Like, I had no idea what salvia was, and that it was going to be anything like that.
Oh my god.
But it was full-blown out-of-body experience. Like, seeing myself, everybody else, my slumped-over vessel.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I've never had anything
never
like that.
Experienced anything like that.
Wow.
I have also never, ever heard anyone say they had an enjoyable experience smoking salvia.
With salvia?
Yeah.
I'm never going to try it.
It's really
I'm
funny to watch
try
people's
it.
reactions. It is very funny because everyone like has different reactions in different funny ways. And
how is it legal?
I know.
I don't know how that one
especially like they have like 10x and 20x.
Is that like, you mean it's 20 times the strength?
Oh yeah.
Don't people fall into like these holes of like they thought they were gone for 20 years and shit?
Yeah, crazy shit.
And it's like weird, like very disparate experiences.
Well, I mean, it seems like I've also never heard someone have
by
like
the couch.
Yeah, no one's ever like had like a spiritual breakthrough on salvia.
Yeah.
It's like, people do DMT. They're like, yeah, I was in hell for 20 years, but I learned something. They're just like, yeah, I did salvia and I hate it. It's the worst day of my life.
It's just like confusing and awful if you don't learn anything.
That's gonna be.
It's also not like a sexy drug. You're not gonna
your
like.
guys' 20th podcast.
Oh fuck!
We're gonna have
All
it recorded.
I'm down.
Camera.
You can do it.
And then we'll integrate it after because it is short. It's only like 5 minutes.
Oh my god!
Let's do DMT instead.
I've never done DMT.
I would rather do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've never done.
I have no
I've done
interest in
ayahuasca.
South
I've never done like just straight DMT.
Homie needs a good DMT.
I would love a good DMT.
Rocket
trip.
ship.
I've been waiting for the people who before I didn't get into drugs until I was.
I gotta pee again. Just go on.
Yeah.
Jesus, Morgan. I didn't start doing any drugs until I was 24. I was super sober because like when I was younger, like first time I ever got drunk, I vomited everywhere. I was 20. I was like an athlete and shit, so I vomited everywhere. I thought it was horrible, and it depressed me. I was like, this is depressing. I don't like drinking. First time I got stoned, someone gave me a piece of a cookie, and it was edible. It must have been like 20 milligrams of edible, and like I was sensitive. So I was high for 24 hours.
Oh wow!
It was top 3 worst days of my life.
Damn.
And we went to go see Django Unchained, which again, like getting really, really high for the first time, and then watching the most violent movie you can think of.
Oh man!
It was one of the worst days of my life. I remember I slept for 14 hours, and then when I woke up, I was still just as high. And I was so upset.
Oh
I was
man!
Like, fuck, man! I was like, fuck. But yeah, I was like, wow, drugs are stupid. I don't know why people do these. These are not interesting. And then the first time I took, I think it was acid first or mushrooms. I can't remember which one I took first, but the first time I took them, I was like, this is what drugs were sold to me as. I was like, drugs will make you feel amazing. They'll change your perspective. I was like, yeah, weed's not my ally. Alcohol's not my ally.
Yeah.
Mushroom and acid are my allies.
Yeah.
And then that was it. But I was really late, like 24. I think I started doing drugs.
I don't think that's that late.
I guess it's not that late. For most people I know, they're like, oh yeah, I started drinking when I was 12. I did mushrooms when I was 16.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy I did that because I think I also talked to a lot of people who I'm like, oh man, I would love to trip acid with you and do this, and they're like, no, I did acid when I was 17 and it was horrible. It's like, did you hang out with your shithead friends in a basement? He's like, yeah, how'd you know? And I was like, that's what everyone does.
The archetypal story.
Yeah, I was like, that's people taking acid like it's weed.
Yeah.
They're taking it with a different plan. I was like, no, every drug requires its own intention, plan, whatever. Like, yeah, smoke weed, fucking eat, like watch a movie and fall asleep. That's what weed's about.
God, that term acid is just like so. There's something about it. It's like when did you guys have Dare when you were in school?
Acid's scary.
I remember I was like, I'm like this guy's wasting my time. Obviously, I'm not gonna do something called fucking acid.
Yeah,
I'm not
retarded. Your brain.
I'm not a fucking idiot. I'm not
never
gonna do
acid. Do drugs.
And then of course, doing LSD the first time, I was like, that is some of the best shit I've ever experienced in my life.
So fucking fun.
But just the term acid is so funny. It's like it just has this connotation of like you're gonna melt your brain. You're not gonna come back. You're gonna be a burnout
forever.
Like, all of our parents have that programming of like, your brain on drugs type thing of like, and they really did a good job at hammering that in, and then finally, like, luckily we were able to break out of that and be like, no, actually LSD is fire.
Yeah, these are not.
Some of the
all
best
these drugs are
inventions in
different.
the world came from that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's
Steve
fantastic.
Jobs. There's no Apple. There's no iPhone without his experience with that.
Exactly. So many things, so many people. I mean, there's no Ram Dass. There's no fucking. I don't know how long it takes Eastern philosophy to like get huge in America without the '60s acid wave.
Yeah.
Like fuck. What did Ram Dass's guru said? Because he brought him LSD. You know that story.
Yeah, he had like
the yogi medicine. The yogi medicine.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, acha, bring me the medicine.
And I love that he messed with him too and pretended that he was like super fucked up.
Yeah, and then he wasn't. He's like, just messing. So funny. And then he asked him, he's like, what's LSD? And he's like, America is the most materialist of countries, and it's asked God to show its avatar in a material, and this is material God. Showing, like, you begged for it to be in physical, touchable reality.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that it's like just a conversation with him and Terrence McKenna.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Conversation.
those are, I love
so
those two.
good.
Terrence
They're
is
so
awesome.
fucking good.
Yeah.
That's like
it's
two.
Good. Well, it's just them talking, and they're like
Yeah.
at a
They're like a
restaurant. and
cafe,
there's like
yeah.
yeah.
They're just so interesting. Also,
Yeah.
I mean, I was obsessed with the 60s for most of my adolescence. I thought that was the most interesting time period. And now I'm realizing what I was obsessed with is just collective waking up.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the fact, like the actual 60s. It's just that the waking up of humanity seemed to lose its thread as a, like, obviously, like, as a movement.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot
picking
of
up
waking
the
up,
thread
but
again.
there's no consistent movement you can point to and say this is waking up or that is like there's no hippie movement, there's no whatever movement
Right.
that I can point to right now.
Yeah, that was because so many people are in it now. That was like a huge kind of like wave, and then it got squashed, and the system trampled it, and now it's like there's so many people across the world, and information spreads so fast that like they can't squash it, and it's just inevitable. And that, like, all of I could feel it so deeply. I'm like, all this COVID stuff is such an act of desperation to get into our genetics before the peak of our evolutionary codes come in from the sun during this Aquarian age. Like, they're desperate to get in people's bodies and try to stop it and spraying shit in the sky to reflect the UV rays. And
You bring a conspiracy theorist on this podcast, Morgan. What'd I say
how
about
dare you?
What'd I fucking say about bringing wackos on, huh? That's why I'm fucking with you.
The frogs are gay.
Birds aren't real. You know birds aren't real?
Is that one?
Okay, so this is a really funny story. You can watch his TED Talk, but this guy wanted to prove how easy it is to spread misinformation and create this is before QAnon, and he was proving that QAnon can happen before it. And he started this campaign, which is that birds aren't real, birds are cameras. Like the government, and he like created this whole page, and it was like, have you ever seen a baby pigeon? No, obviously not. And it's like migration is all about they got to charge the batteries, and he would go out with like this crazy van across America, and he did this like sociological experiment, and he got people to come to like rallies and shit.
Yeah. I've heard the phrase "birds aren't real." I didn't know this is where it came from.
You should watch. I mean, if you're interested, watch his TED Talk. It's fucking fascinating and hilarious. It's hilarious. All the
It's
things
so
that he's come
funny
up
to
with.
me.
He's like, why do you think they're always standing on telephone wires? Because they're putting information back into the system. That's where they download their cameras.
I think
it's so funny.
With enough confidence, people are like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, exactly.
I think we should do something like this. Or one
We
idea
should
I've
start
had
a
is to
misinformation
start.
campaign.
Well, I want to start like a fake cult and just like tell everyone it's a cult.
Okay, you want to start a fake cult? What do you mean start a fake cult? How does this begin? Do we have to have meetings? You mean actually start a cult and tell everyone it's a cult and see what happens?
Yeah.
And say that you're a part of it. Like, I'm part of this cult. Would you like to join? Like, what
This isn't fleshed out yet.
Okay, you're just spitballing.
This is in its
You're spitballing.
infancy.
Okay.
Okay, what's the theme of the cult?
The theme of the cult having sex with
had-
your followers.
Yeah, exactly.
God telling you to have sex with your followers and doing meth.
That's the
Jonestown didn't go far enough. Something really dark.
Yeah, just all the like typical cult stuff, but we just tell everyone it's a cult.
Dude, you know what's funny is so we had a clip of we made a clip out of our men's retreat stuff that we've captured over the years.
Sure.
It went viral last year, actually, like right around this time. It got like 12 million views across Twitter and Instagram, and it was like, oh man, no, fuck no, because it was like the most hate I've ever seen in my life.
Jesus.
And there was a lot of people that said, like, this is some gay cult shit.
Of course.
There is so much.
We started a gay cult.
There is so much gay comments of like, you guys are like, this is the gayest shit I've ever seen, and like I just watched Pee Wee Herman. Like people would say a million different ways of that, and like that. I'm like, why? Okay, why? What's happening here? Like, why did this happen?
Yeah.
What is this showing me? And it was like, oh, that's the that's the final level of, for men, their resistance to doing this kind of thing. It's like, oh, that's fucking gay, or like, oh, that's for white guys with ponytails, or like, it's always the white guys doing this shit, or whatever.
Well, I bet you have a podcast too.
Well, that also feeds into like, men are so deprived from affection and like any sense of touch. Yeah. That like, and I was explaining this to my ex as a massage therapist, and I was like, most men only see touch as sexual. They don't understand. When they touch you, it's sexual. When you touch them, it's sexual. They don't know anything else. They don't know how to not make that a pleasure realm, an erogenous thing, and like that's really actually sad. Yeah. Because they were deprived of. I mean, daughters get hugged more by their fathers. Yeah. Like, you probably did not have healthy amounts of physical touch from your dad. Yeah. And so that this doesn't and so you understand touching women, but you don't understand touching men.
Did I give you a rose blessing last year at the ceremony?
A what?
A rose blessing? Do you remember that?
What is a rose blessing? That sounds kind of gay.
Maybe I didn't give you one.
No. Where he kisses your butthole.
It's I brought it
That's
up.
exactly what I was
picturing. I brought it up exactly for this reason. To highlight this point. Bro, did I give you a rose blessing?
Oh man.
I must have been passed out for that.
You definitely were. It was a proper one.
Oh my god. Okay,
no, but
it's
so I bring it up because it's you could easily be like, that shit's gay, but what it is, and I laugh because I've done this with like some of the like, you know, biggest bros or jocks or whoever. And essentially, you're just like, I'm just taking. The first time I ever got one of these from my homie who's a shaman, I was like, that like broke the barrier of kind of what we're talking about. Yeah. So you're just dipping the rose in water, and then like spinning it on your third eye, and then on your heart, and then like putting it on the palms of your hands, and just like putting the energy of the rose in you, and it's super healing and cleansing, and it feels awesome. But it's like awesome. A guy giving that to you, it's kind of like it's a way to receive, and I love it because it's like, bro, we're getting rid of all that stupid shit of like, this is weird, like I don't know about this, and it's like we're two homies, two brothers, and I'm just like blessing you up with the rose, and it's like it's this form of love, and it's like every time guys at first are like, whoa, okay, all right, and then at the end they're like, dude, I fucking needed that so bad.
You don't know how.
I wish you had given me a rose blessing. This sounds amazing.
I can't believe I didn't do that with you, mate. Because I know I did it with a bunch of the guys.
Saving for the next. That reminds me of so I had a similar, like, I was living out of my car, but I was traveling, so I had some money. But I ended up being very poor at the end of the travels. But I'm doing my go west from Massachusetts, find myself journey.
You did that too, okay.
Of course, and then I'm in Colorado, first day in Colorado, and there's a lot of bullshit between Massachusetts and Colorado that's not interesting. Yeah. Like that whole middle section between Missouri and Kansas. Yeah. And so, anyways, it's been like a desert of nothingness. I finally get to Colorado. I'm like, oh, something's gonna happen. I'm so excited. First skate park I go to, because it's like kind of a skate tour, doing a lot of things, but I'm on like a giant bowl, like a 12-foot skate bowl, and I stall on the top, and I just don't like how the stall's feeling, so I just hop back in and bail. But as I'm sliding down the thing, my left arm gets caught underneath me, pops my shoulder out.
Oh my god!
Never happened to me before. And I like stand up, like, shoulder down, and now I can't get out of the bowl because you need both arms, and people are just like looking at me, and I'm like, I'm hurt. Like I don't, and I have no words because I'm in shock. And then people are like talking, and I think I might pass out. And then these two dudes rush into the bowl, and they're speaking Portuguese to each other, and and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And they lay me down on the ground. They take off my helmet, and I start feeling hands like going under my shirt and like doing shit. And I'm like, what do I do? Like, do I let them do this? Do I not? I have no idea. And I didn't look down because I was so freaked out. I feel a big tug on my arm, and then another big tug, and then the third thing was my shoulder got pushed back into the socket, and it was the most like having to let go, receive moment of my life. I was like, oh, this feels like super like being penetrated by my own body into that socket, and also allowing these men to like put it back in. And it was very, I was like, whoa, that did not feel masculine. That felt very feminine. And it was definitely a life-changing event, just because now I carry this like trauma in my shoulder that I have to work out. And anyways, afterwards I found out the guy knows some English. He's from Brazil. He was like a very well-renowned physical therapist down there. He knew exactly what he was doing, but he just was too freaked out to like speak the little bit of English he knew. Wow. So yeah, and so we became. I asked him. I was like, "Dude, do you want $500?" Like, this was gonna ruin my entire trip. I was gonna have to go home because like ambulance, fucking whatever, put my shoulder back in. I have no medical insurance outside of Massachusetts. That's $5,000. That's my entire. That's more than all the money I have. So like, Miles's big trip is over immediately because he dislocated his shoulder. And I was like, what do you want? Can I give you $500? Can I give you something? And he was like, no, I just want a friend. I don't have any friends in America. And he's like, I'm gonna, undocumented. And I was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. I'll be your friend. So I called ICE on him, and he's back.
I knew this where that was going.
But feeling that feminine energy and being able to accept it, that had to happen in that moment. Because I was like, literally, I'm fucking, my shoulder is out. And someone has to help me. And I have to ask for help. And we're not like prepared to do that.
Totally.
So anyways.
Dude, getting the love from the bros like that for the first time, and like letting that in, it's incredible. Like, I think men, when we're in that, when we're expressing that feminine side of like taking care of each other, we're so intuitive and we know what to do. I've seen it so many times, and we block it with all the stupid gay shit. And it's like, it feels so good to get that, to like have the brothers like helping you out when you need it, and like allowing, like being in a space where we can all do that, because at the end of the day we're all masculine and feminine. It's all about balance between the both.
Right.
And I've received that before with guys who were medics, and when I got destroyed in an ayahuasca night, full death experience, all I wanted was a woman to come over and be like, and hold me, like mother energy, like feminine, sweet energy. This guy comes over, and I'm like, fuck, not him. No. Not him. And of course, in the medicine space, everything is orchestrated perfectly. So it's like, he's what I needed. And that dude saved my life. Like, he sat down next to me, he literally held me as I was shaking. And he's just like telling me everything I needed to hear, and just like, he's like, I'm right here with you. Like, you're so courageous. Like, thank you for letting yourself go through this. Like, you're a brave soul. I love you. I got you. I'm right here, for like 45 minutes.
Wow.
And it just like brought me back to life, and I will never forget that guy. And that was like, I'm like, whoa, men have feminine energy too. Like, that felt like this incredible blend of like a loving father that like, my own dad didn't really know how to do that.
Of course. There's no way he could.
Right. Yeah. So like, to get that from this guy and realize that that's a thing, I was like, damn, that was some good medicine right there.
I wonder if that would start healing the rift between the feminine and the masculine nowadays, because it's like, I can see in myself how I put women in this box in my head.
Yeah.
Like, they're sexual, they're to be my girlfriend, and like, maybe they're my friends and I enjoy being around their sexual energy, but I can feel the patriarchal like system that's been just like hammered into me through all media, life, my parents,
Yeah.
And being able to reclaim healthy masculinity, which is rare these days, needing that.
Yeah.
And then being able, like, being in touch with your feminine, but like, I think that is going to help being able to receive love from other men, like platonic love, and be able to have that and have that community. I think that I without that, I press so much pressure on women to fill all the need I need for love.
Yeah.
And for physical touch and all these things. And so it's like, I'm going to hypersexualize you. I'm going to you're about relationship for me. When it's like, if my needs are being met in a general societal way and I have my like father figures who are holding me as well, then I don't have to put so much pressure on my fucking mom, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, mom has to make it better. Mom has to make it better. It's like, mom and dad work together. So can mom and dad work together? I think that would help. Men being able to show love for other men, I think is, I don't think, that might be the best thing we can do right now for how we treat women.
Yeah.
Because I think it'll change our needs system.
To be able to give a woman a hug without being like, oh, I'd like to fuck you.
Yeah.
That's a big level of
That's hard
maturity.
for me. If she's a cute girl and I hug her, I think it in the back of my head. And not always, but often.
Well, there's a point where it's like we're learning to separate ourselves from that primal urge of like, all right, that's automatic in my body, like that's gonna happen, but I'm not owned by it, and it's okay if that thought comes in. That's a natural primal thought from the way I was genetically designed.
She's probably thinking the same thing about you.
You're right,
definitely
so right.
We're in the same boat for sure.
Imagine if every time you hugged a girl and you pulled back, you're like, did you just think about fucking?
That's just what I assume.
Did you just think about getting him up in my ass?
Yeah.
No,
I would have never.
You want to peg me, don't you?
There is, and I've learned that through the plant medicine journey, and just like being in these kinds of healing spaces, like it's like this integrity of like, all right, that has to be shut off, like I can't, and that's been helpful outside of that too, where I'm not like owned by that as much anymore.
Right.
But the worst thing you can do is repress it and pretend like it's not there.
Right.
Be a nice guy and be like, I would never fuck you like that. It's
no,
you would.
Yeah, exactly.
Be honest with yourself, like let the monster be there, or it's gonna own you.
Coming into just really acceptance that there's a part of me that's just a horny little fucking crazy want to have sex. Where I'm like, that's just part of it. That's only a percentage. But if
you don't really repress that. So
I don't.
I think that's what makes it.
You're good with that, dude.
But that's why I will say this: women do feel very safe around you. I've noticed they're like, because you just like talk about that all the time. Like,
dude, I was hanging out with Loren the other day, and I was like, "Oh, you're so fucking sexy! I can't wait till we bang." And she's just my friend. Like, she knows I'm a goofball.
Yeah.
And we'll. I don't think we'll ever sleep together.
Yeah.
But like everything's out in the open. I'm not covertly trying to say anything, and yes, they feel very safe around me. Almost too safe, like I'm their gay best friend.
That can happen too.
Yeah.
Which I don't give a fuck. But no, I was more repressed in my last relationship where my partner was very upset if I'd be attracted to anyone, even if I wouldn't act on anything. That was the whole journey I had to.
Yeah.
That was really the main reason I had to leave the relationship.
Yeah.
But also, guys, we gotta wrap up pretty soon.
What time is it?
We're at 3 hours.
Holy shit!
We gotta wrap.
This is like a Joe Rogan
podcast. Would you like to plug anything else?
Oh,
or share your Instagram or YouTube? Yeah. Besides that.
I think YouTube's the thing that I'm enjoying a lot right now, and that's just I think it's under Sean Patrick Graves, and it's Follow Your Path. Because my whole thing is, hey, if we can create a world where everyone is following their path, that'd be pretty dope. That'd be pretty sweet if everyone just was in that energy together, and there's compassion because we know how challenging it can be, and it takes all of who we are to walk that hero's journey, and it's like a big collective like fuck off to the old system. So that's kind of what I dedicate my life to. It's like I gotta follow my path, and then I want to help other people follow theirs. So whatever I'm creating, or content-wise, or in-person experiences, or coaching, like that's what I'm about. And it's so interesting to see the puzzle of other people and the path that they're on. I get fascinated by that, which is why Uber was really cool for me, because I'm like, I love hearing people's fucking stories. Yeah, I think that's probably what I would say for that kind of thing, because I don't know when the next retreat's going to be after this one, but there will be one, and that's the cool thing too. Of like, we were talking about money, and I used to think like, oh, I need to buy land and buy a retreat place. Then all of a sudden, this amazing woman shows up at one of my mushroom weekend ceremonies, and she's got not one but 2 houses that it's like, hey, I love the work that you do. My house is your house. You can use this anytime you want.
You don't have to buy anything.
And
it can just be offered.
And Morgan's been there. The house, it's freaking awesome up there. And she's got all this ceremony stuff, instruments, mats. She cooks. The land is incredible. There's an inipi on it. Like, it's so crazy that it's like, oh, I went from the limitation of I need to buy this land and do this thing, and this amazing angel woman is just like, oh no, I got 2 houses that you can do that in Utah and Montana.
Boom, done.
Anytime. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's abundance right there.
Yeah.
It's simple. It's clean. It's uncomplicated sometimes.
Yeah, let God fund your dreams.
Totally.
God fund me.
You don't have to fund it. God fund me.
Oh, how the fuck have I never heard that before? God fund me.
That's what we're calling this podcast. God fund me.
We're starting a God fund me.
God.
Genius.
God fund me.
That's so good, dude. I am taking that and running with it.
Please do. That's the name of this podcast. Is God fund me. This episode.
This episode, yeah.
Great name to an episode. I would click on that all day if I saw that.
God fund me.
Oh God. Well, this has been.
Well, should we end on that high note?
Yeah.
Totally.
All right. God fund me. Everyone knuckles in. Good job.
God fund me.
1, 2, 3, break.
Donate to my God fund me.
Donate. All right. This has been Imposter Syndrome with Sean Reed.